Good evening and welcome to Orient Live here at the Braille Group Stadium. It's the hottest ever day on record and the O's are hosting Portsmouth here at Brisbane Road in our last home game of the pre-season. And although it is behind closed doors, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by London football journalist Brendan Pitcher and Orient royalty, one of the most successful Orient players to go on to the Premier League. None other than Mr. Charlie Daniels. It's a pleasure to have you with us today this evening, boys. And Charlie, welcome back to E10. It must be nice to be back in a familiar setting.
Yeah, it's lovely to be back. I mean, the weather's hot. I mean, I do like it hot, but this is really hot, this. And I'm glad you put us right in the middle of the sunshine as well.
Yeah, spare a thought for us stood out here in the sun. But I think there's a lightning storms forecast for half-time, Brendan. It's one of the strangest pre-seasons, I think, but this is certainly going to be a test for the players today.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a strange one because I think extreme weather, you've had that when the squad have gone out to Portugal and played in these heats, but you don't expect it when you come back to England and play. And I think Richie Wellens will have been looking at kind of minutes and fitness out in Portugal, and this time looking at more kind of tactical work and shape, but it's probably going to be a test of fitness as much as anything out there to see this evening. And
two of your former clubs, Charlie, and I'm sure a lot of memories, obviously a cup final with Portsmouth, and I mean there's a lot to talk about for the Orient game as well, but you have a lot of happy memories coming back here.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I used to come here as a kid, you know. I mean, I grew up not too far from the ground and used to have a season ticket. You know, it only cost a tenner for that season ticket, so me and my mate used to come down when it was League, I think it might have been League 3 even back in the day. So loads of memories, you know, coming at this ground, and you know, it's really nice to come back.
And it was a loan move that started all off, really, wasn't it? How did it come about, the birth of your Orient career?
That's a good question. I don't really know, really. I just got, I think I just got told. Leyton Orient have come in for you. Would you like to go? I think it was straightforward, yes. And you know, never looked back from there, really. And
I'm guessing you had that loan spell, and then you came back under. I'm not 100% sure he was under, but I'm guessing the majority of the time would have been
Martin
under.
Ling. I'll come back under Martin Ling, and then unfortunately he got the sack, and then Grant Williams come in. Worked a lot on me as a left back, improved me a lot as a player, and then Russell Slade come in, and then we had some good memories under Russell Slade, and then moved on to Bournemouth from there.
I was going to come on to Russell because I think that period holds a lot of memory for a lot of Orient fans, but you've obviously got the Arsenal tie, you've got coming so close to the playoffs, but what do you remember from that period of your career? It was obviously just before you really hit the big time.
Yeah, no, it was a really fun time in my career. You know, we had a great squad, great harmony, and you know, Russell really typified that and brought us really close together with his tactical nous, you know, and getting us really up for the game. And as I said before, I mean the Arsenal game, I think, typified us as a team and, you know, us as a club. You know, I remember before the game, the owner coming in, and we had a little conversation saying, look, if we get a replay, because he said if you win, I'll take you to Vegas, like he always does. You know, he loved taking us to Vegas. And we had a little conversation, and then we went, look, if we get a draw and we can take it back to the Emirates, you know, you get paid. Can we work it that way? And he was like, he had the little deliberation. He went, oh, go on then, go on then. And then Jonathan Tahoue, late in the day, got that equaliser. And I think if you look back, loads of us are celebrating with aeroplanes, you know, because we got a free trip to Vegas. And I think that really culminated the season. And you know, us as a group, I mean, you'll never forget it, and it was a great trip that we went on.
And I suppose you've got a lot to owe to Jonathan Tahoue there, especially that Vegas trip. I'm guessing you can't go into too much detail.
No, it was a really good. No, it was a really good trip. You know, it was such a good group, and like we all got along. And you know, even the young lads. So say we had Harry Kane on loan, we had Tom Carroll on loan. I think we even had, I don't know if Andros was there at the time, but they come over. You know, Harry and Tom were too young to obviously go out, but they went out, they played golf, we stayed with them throughout the whole day, you know, and that camaraderie that I had together was really, really special.
Well, Harry's got a lot to
I think he's gone into a little bit of better things.
He certainly has. Well, I'm sure we'll come back on some more of your memories, Charlie, but first let's take a look at the starting lineup for the O's this evening. Let's see if he's still got it. Yes, he has.
there.
So starting in goal for the O's this evening, number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux, number 3, Connor Wood, 6, Adam Thompson, 7 returning to the side is Paul Smyth, number 9 is a trialist this evening, number 11, Theo Archibald, number 14, George Moncur, number 14, also returning to the side, Ethan Coleman. We're in the armband, number 18, Darren Prattley. At the back, number 19, Omar Beckles, and partnering him this evening, number 25, Shad Oji. And on the bench for the O's, Sam Sargent, Bruce Byrne, Emmanuel Kwachi, Dan Happy, Craig Clay, Ruel Satiriou, Ashley Karoman, no relation to Josh Untold, Anthony Georgiou, Charlie Pegram, Harrison Soji, Sonny Fish, Zek Obiero, and there are also 2 trialists there wearing the numbers 12 and 28. So a strong side for the O's. Brendan, quite a few injuries, probably explaining why we're having one of the trialist families starting up top, but you expect Rich is going to be treating this as a proper warm-up for the first league fixture.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big test. It's a week and a half until the season starts, and I think you're going to be looking at who's going to start on that opening day against Grimsby. And I think if you're looking at that team, it's almost as strong as he could go. I think there's a couple of question marks in terms of who's maybe going to start at centre mid and who's maybe going to start at centre back. But other than that, given what's available to him there, I think that's pretty much about as strong as he can go. So it'll be interesting to see how this team lines up and how they gel and click together today.
And we did see Shadoji play in the kind of the holding midfield position against Tottenham on Saturday. Do you think he'll be partnering Omar this evening, or how do you expect the O's to line up?
Yeah, I think it will be a 4-2-3-1. We've seen that's how Richie prefers to play. I think he started the game against Spurs with a back five with wing backs, and I don't think it really suited our game. We didn't look like the free-flowing side that we know we can play like under Richie Wellens, and then it took an unfortunate injury to Tom James for that to change to a back four, and we looked more comfortable after that. So yeah, I'd expect it to be a 4-2-3-1 today with Shadoji not in centre mid, in centre back.
And we obviously do hope to see Tom James back in action as soon as possible, but one massive positive we can take from the starting 11 is the return of little Paul Smyth. He could be such a key player for us when he's fitting on his game.
Yeah, absolutely. We've all seen how good he can be. We saw at the back end of last season he was scoring wonder goals every single week, and I think it's just a case of, like you say, keeping him fit. I think he's been so unfortunate with injuries. It was a case of kind of when he came off in that game, it was like, oh no, not again. But to see him back so quickly is a positive, and hopefully he can stay fit for the remainder of his pre-season and start on fire against Grimsby.
And Charlie, you expect the board are all almost going to be a little bit annoyed that they spent all the money going to Portugal for a pre-season tour when the weather was like this as it is. But what do you think Richie will be looking for his players, especially when you factor in the conditions they're playing in?
Yeah, I think he'll be looking for a more tactical side of the game. You know, they've done all the hard work in terms of the running and preparation now. Now it's really trying to hone in the tactical side before the first game of the season, which is getting ever closer. And
as a player then, what's in your mind as you're warming up in the summer heat, and the start of the season must be in your mind?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, if I was a player, I'd be obviously looking to try and get as many 90 minutes as I can in before the start of the season. With the season starting so early, it's probably not going to happen for a lot of players, but for me, I'll be trying to get as many minutes as I can before the first game.
And how important are these fixtures? We're obviously playing a League One side. We obviously played Spurs under 21s on Saturday, but this is probably the toughest opposition. I know we played some teams out in Portugal, but in terms of the similarities to a league fixture, this is probably as close as we're going to come.
Yeah, this is definitely a step up from the Spurs under 21s game for sure. And if you look at their starting lineup, you know they've gone really strong, and you know the front four that I'm looking at, you know they could cause a number of problems. You know they've gone really strong, really exciting players, a couple that I played with, and you know it's going to be a tough test for Leyton Orient today.
And so do you expect Richie will be maybe trying to see how capable his defence is as well, because it's a defence is key to a successful side, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why you know you make these fixtures. You know, you want to test your team, you want to see what type of players you have and how the characters are in your squad, and what you look for in pre-season games is to face this type of opposition and to be stand up and accounted for.
Well, we've touched on that fixture against Spurs on Saturday against the under-21s of theirs, but now let's take a look at the highlights from that game. We don't have the highlights for that one, I'm afraid.
Good start.
Listen, this is our pre-season as well. I don't know if you've got the clip of George Moncur hitting that free kick as well, but that's what we were going to come on to, Brendan, and that was probably a big positive. We've seen this big signing come in. Everyone's buzzing, And to see him score a goal like that on Saturday was delightful.
Yeah, I definitely hope we've got that clip because it was an amazing strike. I can't remember such a good free kick hit at Brisbane Road in recent times. And like you say, George Moncur is the big statement signing of this summer. I think something we've lacked for quite a long time in terms of a player who can provide that kind of attacking impetus from central midfield. And to get a player in his prime who's been playing championship football for the last few seasons is a real statement of intent, and it shows how kind of the prospect of Leyton Orient is looking at the minute under Richie Wellens and this ownership, that we're able to attract a player of his stature.
And obviously, Charlie, you know a thing or two about hitting some sweet free kicks in an Orient shirt, and obviously some goals in the Premier League as well, which I think might have been played on screen. But a player that you know the name of George Moncur, you know his pedigree, you know his family. That's a good signing for League Two.
Good signing, yeah, really good signing. You say, and he's the type of the player that's got that extra bit of quality that you need to sometimes unlock a game. And as you alluded to, that free kick that he scored at the weekend, I mean, I saw it and it was out of the top drawer.
It certainly was, but it's going to be a tough test for George and the rest of the lads this evening in this summer heat, and it's a tough Portsmouth side that the O's will be facing this evening. So let's take a little look through their starting lineup as Danny Cowley looks to continue successful pre-season so far. And in goal for Pompey, number 1 Josh Griffiths, number 4 Clark Robertson, number 5 Haji Nmoga, number 6 Connor Ogilvie, number 11 Ronan Curtis, number 15 Marlon Pack, 17 Joe Piggott, number 18 Rico Hackett, number 21 Joe Rafferty, number 23 Louis Thompson, and number 24 Michael Jacobs. And on the subs bench for Portsmouth this evening, Zach Swanson, Ryan Tunnicliffe, Kieran Freeman, Brandon Pierrick, Tyrell Thomas, Liam Vincent, Jay Mingy, Harry Dewitt-White, Alfie Bridgman and Dan Gifford. And there's a couple of trialists on the bench there for Portsmouth as well. But as you've already alluded to, Charlie, it's a strong Portsmouth side tonight, and it looks as though Danny Cowley as well will be looking to see a strong performance from his side. Yeah, definitely. You know, he's put out a strong side, and you know, especially with a new signing, Joe Piggott, he wants to get him in and around the team as quick as possible. And I'm sure with his height and presence, they'll be looking for him, and then getting Michael Jacobs and Ronan Curtis running off him, and Rico Hackett running off him, you know, to provide the offensive outlet. And we've said about what they'll be looking for, but how much does the result really matter in a game like this for both sides? We've obviously got very different ambitions for the season in terms of where we're placed, but so how much does the result really mean, and how as a player do you kind of have to then try and focus on your game and put that out of your mind? I think any game you play, I think you want to win. Obviously it's a friendly, so you kind of take it with a pinch of salt, but I'm sure the managers will be looking for a good performance, and if that comes with a win, I'm sure they'll be happy. But I think today, fore and foremost, they'll be looking for a good performance. What kind of foot would you expect Cowley to have his Portsmouth side playing in a game like this? You expect him to be bringing the game to Orient a little bit more, being the bigger club? Yeah, definitely, especially with the offensive side that they have. I'm sure they'll try and dominate the ball, trying to get it forward as quickly as they can to Joe Piggott and work off him with forward runners off of Joe. You know, he's a big aerial presence, so I'm sure there'll be crosses coming in the box, maybe a few diags, and you know, giving Orient a lot of problems. And I think it's fair to say Portsmouth are something of a sleeping giant. They recently got promotion a few seasons ago from League Two, but their fans especially will be hoping to climb back up the leagues again, Brendan. And I think it is fair to call them a sleeping giant, and they'll be looking to really kick on this season. Yeah, absolutely. They were mainstays of the Premier League only a decade or so ago. They won the FA Cup only a decade or so ago. They're playing AC Milan in the UEFA Cup only a decade or so ago. So they are, I think it's fair to say, they are a big side for League One level, and they have probably underperformed in recent years. They'll be looking to make the Championship, and under Danny Cowley, they'll be hoping he's the man that can kind of take them up to that level where they feel, that at least Championship level where they feel they belong. And just to touch on the man, he is an exciting young manager. He's had a lot of success in his short career so far, and what do you expect from him in this Portsmouth side, not just tonight, but for the future? Because it does feel like an exciting thing that could potentially be going on if they can get it to click. Yeah, absolutely. Danny Cowley's done a great job in the past. I think that Braintree side that he did so well in the National League with was amazing, and then what he did with Lincoln everyone knows about, and he probably has struggled maybe a little bit to replicate that success in recent times. Did okay at Huddersfield and did a
fairly decent job at Portsmouth last season, but now we'll be looking to really kick on and show what he's capable of with this Portsmouth side. Like we say, a sleeping giant in League One, where if you get it right, then the momentum can take you up the leagues, and he can really kind of deliver on his potential, because we've seen that Danny Cowley can be a real top manager in English football.
Well, that is obviously the Portsmouth manager, but let's now take a listen to the Orient manager, who's also an exciting, fairly new appointment. We've got a clip from Richie Wellens in his interview earlier in the week.
What sort of areas are you looking to strengthen in terms of the squad?
Have a guess.
Striker?
Oh, in one, yeah. No, we'd like another midfield player. Obviously, Ethan come back today, so that made it that we've got 3 midfield players, out-and-out midfield players, himself, Darren Prattley and Craig Clay. We'd see Monks as more of an 8, a 10, an attacking midfield. But out-and-out midfield players, when you play 3 in there, you probably need 4 or 5. So we include Monks in that. And Jordan Brown's going to be out for potentially a month because he's got a problem. So yeah, we probably need another midfield player at the moment, and definitely a striker.
And would they be permanent or possibly loans?
No, probably not, because again, we as a club, we as a staff, we love Drinan, we love Harry Smyth. So we have to be careful that if we went out and got a permanent sign on a 2 or 3 year contract, that when they're back fit in 2 or 3 weeks' time, where does that leave the new lad? Where does that leave them? We only play 1 up front, really. At times we're going to play 2 when they're both fit. We have to be careful. So it'll probably be a lone player that's learning his trade, that we can dip in, dip out, and if he does really well, obviously he can get game time.
Top stuff there from Richie, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can get this O's side doing this evening. And we've touched on him already, but let's go back to him, because I've got it confirmed. We have got the clips of Joe Pigott. What kind of player is he, Charlie? I know you've said he's big, he's a focal point, but what do you expect from him in this Portsmouth side?
Hopefully goals. I'm sure that's what Danny's brought him in to do, and that's score goals and to be a physical presence, because I don't think they've had a big physical number 9 for a good number of years now. So maybe that's what Danny thinks is the key to unlock them getting promoted this season.
And obviously he'll be hoping to bring the goals, but looking elsewhere on the pitch, is there anyone you remember playing with from your time there that the O's need to be keeping an eye on tonight?
Yeah, definitely Ronan Curtis. Ronan Curtis is a big threat, when he's on it. Very forward-thinking player. Attack-minded, likes to jink, likes to get involved in the play. And Michael Jacobs is a very clever player. Gets in between the lines. Got an eye for goal, but more assists than anything. Likes to keep the play ticking over. And for me, them two are the big threat. And
are there any other names for you, Brendan, that you think the O's should be maybe a little bit wary of in this evening's fixture?
I think you've highlighted Joe Pigott. For me, I think he's the big threat. I think when you look at a Danny Cowley side of the past, especially his Lincoln side, they work so well off a big target man, and like Charlie says, I don't think they perhaps had that last season, and he's perfect for that. I think he had a slightly disappointing season at Ipswich last season. He only got 3 goals after a big move from Wimbledon, so he'll be looking to get his career back on track, and he'll have a point to prove. So yeah, I think he's the real danger man today.
And if we look at the O's, Charlie, there's a bit of an injury problem, and it's mainly in that striker department. Against this League One defence tonight, how important is it in a pre-season fixture to get as many of your players you can in and amongst the goals and get that confidence high ahead of the season?
Yeah, I mean, scoring goals in pre-season is what any team needs. But I think what's more important is that don't get any more injuries to key players. And I'm sure Richie will definitely be thoughtful of that. If he can get through today with no injuries, good performance, and maybe even a win, I think that's ideal for him. But for him, I think that the key is no injuries, and if he can get through that, then it's looking good.
And obviously that will be in his mind. I think it's in all O's fans' mind. We don't want to see any more injuries. We've got a big squad tonight, though. You expect to see a fair few changes, probably a whole new 11 for the second half, you'd imagine. But in terms of the starting side and the attacking players you've got on the pitch, who do you think can cause this League One side defence some trouble?
Yeah, I think when you look at, we've mentioned Paul Smith already. Theo Archibald, I thought, was really, really good against Spurs, and I think he'll be looking to pick up where he left off. I think it's another, like we said about Moncur, I think another statement signing really in terms of keeping Theo Archibald, because I'm sure he would have had other offers. He was so impressive last season, but the fact that we've been able to kind of pay a bit of money to Lincoln and keep him permanently, and this is where he wants to be, I think that's a real kind of another statement signing and a real positive sign for the season ahead.
And young Ruel Sotiriou as well, of course. You've said about Theo's re-signing. You've got him, Ruel, and also Adam Thompson, who signed the new deals, as well as TJ Tom James, who will hopefully be back as soon as possible. For you, as a fan, how exciting was that to see all these players want to commit their future to the club and want to be part of something?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've only brought in 2 new players in Georgiou and Moncur, but the fact that we've been able to keep pretty much all of the players we wanted to keep is another, like I say, another statement and a sign that the club is in the right direction. The players have bought into what Richie Wellens wants to do, and it's shaping up to be an exciting season as long as we don't get too many injuries and we can keep everyone fit.
And hoping that the squad is fully fit, Charlie. But looking at pre-season, it can be quite a time full of change. How key is it for a club to try and keep that change as small as possible, and how important is continuity going from one season into the next, and how key is that for success?
Yeah, it's definitely key, and if you look at any team that has progressed up the league, sorry, they have kept that continuity throughout. Are we going to get hit? Are we? Throughout, we've added in that little bit extra, every now and again, and say only 2 signings. Okay, it might only be 2 signings, but it might be 2 of the right signings that the team needed. And say, I think keeping the players here that have performed well and keeping them on longer contracts, I think maybe better than the signings that they've got.
And Richie did, of course, though, in the interview we just listened to, allude to some potential new signings. There's obviously nothing as of yet. But where do you maybe expect to see some new faces in the side, Brendan?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think we're fairly well stacked. You've seen the squad there. We've got a good kind of starting 11 and a good bench, but with the fact that there's going to be more substitutes and we have picked up a few injuries, you're kind of looking at just bolstering the squad. I think Richie's spoken a lot about under-23s football and how he's gone out to watch a lot of that. So maybe it could be a couple of young loanees that come in and kind of bolster the squad a little bit and just add to the numbers and give you something different.
Absolutely. Well, the players have made their way inside, and kickoff is just under 10 minutes away. And we've already chatted with Charlie about his time at the Orient, but as we touched on the start of the show, probably I think it's fair to say one of the most successful Orient players to go on to the Premier League and achieve. And let's start with that move to Bournemouth, because I'll be totally honest, maybe myself and a few other Orient fans might have scratched our heads a little bit and wondered why you moved to a club in the same division, but you must have clearly seen what was being built at AFC Bournemouth.
Yeah, it was... I remember everyone talking about it, saying it's like a sideways step, but I actually got sold the fact that the new owner come in and he sold us what he wanted to do. He wanted to be in the Championship, then he wanted to go even higher than that. So it's something that I wanted to be a part of. He wanted to bring new fresh people in. He wanted to he wanted to bring new people in and improve the ground, improve the training ground. Obviously that's taken longer than expected, but just the vision that he had, and he wanted the club to move forward. So that's how it come about, and it's something that I wanted to be a part of. I always wanted to test myself. I always wanted to improve. I always wanted to play as high as I can, and I felt that Bournemouth was the right choice.
And was it clear the type of manager Eddie Howe was back then?
Eddie wasn't there. He wasn't there. No, so it was Lee Bradbury who signed me. He signed a few of us actually who actually played and got into the Premier League. So I signed in the November on loan initially, then signed in the permanent on the January, and then Eddie didn't come in till the October. So there was still a good amount of time before Eddie come back. Yeah.
And it was of course Eddie who took you up the leagues though, and to the Premier League. And when you were in the lower divisions with him and rising up, was it clear what the manager he would have gone on to become?
He was definitely driven. Yeah, he was definitely driven. And what I love about Eddie is that the fact that he wanted us to get better, and every single one of us as well, not just like individuals or trying to, say people try buy big names or something. He wasn't like that. He wanted to improve everyone on the training ground, and we bought into that. And as you can see, I think it was the first game in the Premier League. I think there may have been 10 of us who played in the Championship, played in the Premier League on the first day. So it just shows his loyalty as well, not to us as well.
And what was it like as a player who predominantly played your career in the Football League to then find yourself playing in the Premier League against the biggest clubs in the world and getting some good results as well. How did that feel as coming from a club like, I know you obviously started at Spurs, but to start your professional career?
I think the journey that we went on was so special. And it just justified all the hard work we put in. And we never really felt out of place as well, which was the main thing. We went up there, we worked hard, we tried to get the results that we needed and to play good football, entertaining football as well. I mean, sometimes we lost heavily, but we picked up enough results, to keep us in the league for 5 years.
Well, congratulations on that. It's obviously a fantastic achievement. And if you are only just joining us on the stream, kickoff is just about 5 minutes away. So let's take another run through of the O's side for this evening's fixture. So in goal for the O's, number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux. Number 3, Connor Wood. Number 6, Adam Thompson. 7, Paul Smyth. Number 9, wearing the trialist shirt this evening. Number 11, Theo Archibald. Number 14, George Moncur. Number 17, Ethan Coleman. 18, wearing the armband, is Darren Pratley. 19, Omar Beckles. And 25, Shad Oji. And on the subs bench for the O's, Sam Sargent, Bruce Byrne, Emmanuel Quachi, Dan Happy, Craig Clay, Ruel Satiriou, Ashley Karoma, Anthony Georgiou, Charlie Pegron, Harrison Soji, Sonny Fish and Zek Obiero. And we'll also just have a quick run through of the Portsmouth side before we head over to our match commentary team. So for Pompey, number 1, Josh Griffiths. Number 4, Clark Robertson. Number 5, Haji Umoga. Number 6, Connor Ogilvie. Number 11, Ronan Curtis. 15, Marlon Pack. 17, and their new signing, Joe Piggott. 18, Rico Hackett. Number 21, Joe Rafferty. Number 23, Louis Thompson. And 24, Michael Jacobs. And on the bench for Pompey, Zach Swanson, Ryan Tunnicliffe, Kieran Freeman, and 2 trialists wearing the 14 and 20 shirt, Liam Vincent, Jay Mingy, Harry Jewett-White, Alfie Bridgman, and Dan Gifford. So there are the 2 starting lineups. Now, just to touch on the whole behind closed doors things before we do head over, Brendan, it feels like we're going back to the weird days of lockdown football, which is a horrible reminder, and it's a shame we couldn't have any fans in here tonight, obviously. But do you think that might affect the game a little bit?
Yeah, it is a shame because it would have been a good away end in terms of numbers Portsmouth would bring, and I think Orient fans would have turned out in the numbers as well. But I think you just got to get on with it. I think the weather's going to affect the pace more than anything. I think it's going to be energy sapping, but also when you're tired and when you need a bit of a lift, the crowd could have helped you as well. So it is a bit of a shame, but you have to get on with it, and it's a different test tonight.
And I'm guessing you played your fair share of lockdown football, Charlie, and with the mix of it being a pre-season game as well, what do you expect from this game?
That's a good question. I think it's going to be tight to begin with. It's a shame the crowd's not here, to give that bit of atmosphere. I think it would be cagey to begin with, and hopefully the lads get into it. What I'm more pleased about is that there's a bit of cover now. So hopefully that should give the lads a bit more impetus, to go on and be more forward thinking. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And it looks as though we could have a lightning storm coming over us any second now, Brendan. It's been a mad day. And I know pre-season games are hard to call, but what way do you think you could see this going from a tactical point of view?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. This first half, you're going to probably take more from than anything else, because I think in the second half you're going to see a kind of range of subs, and it's probably not going to be either side's first team. So I think if you're going in, if you're Richie Wellens, you're saying, look, let's try and get a result in that first half and show a really good performance that shows we're ready to go into this new season.
And you've got a number of young, exciting youth products on the bench, especially for the O's this evening. You've obviously got Zek Obiero, Sonny Fish, you've got Harrison Soji and Charlie Pregum, to name just a few. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask if you've watched any of them play, but for a young player like that coming up against opposition at a division above, maybe not as much pressure, how good a chance is it to see what they can do?
That's it, they say throughout your career it's based on chances, and you've got to take your chance, and now these young lads have got a chance to impress the manager. And if they take it, then they've got a great chance of being in the squad throughout the season. So it'll be a big test for them, but if they step up and take it, then there's every chance they could get rewarded.
Well, it'll be exciting to see what O's side turns up this evening until Tijuana Taxi rings out around E10. So it's now time to hand over to our match commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
And a very good evening. Welcome to Brisbane Road, and with me is Matt Hiscock. And Matt, after a very hot day, there's a bit of a breeze in the air.
Yeah, it is just starting to cool a bit, isn't it? Where we're positioned in the heart of the East Stand. As both teams come out onto the pitch at Brisbane Road, but looking forward to this one.
Absolutely. We got a trialist up front, and in the second half we could have more than one trialist.
Yeah, 3 trialists named on the Orient team sheet, and as you say, one is starting wearing the number 9 position. We expect him to be leading the line up top. And, there's 3 new additions to Portsmouth's starting lineup this evening. Josh Griffiths, who of course joined on loan from West Brom. Joe Piggott as well, the most recent. He's on a season-long loan deal from Ipswich. Joining them is Joe Rafferty, who they signed from Preston on a free. So there'll be lots of people watching on, very eagle-eyed.
There are 2 trialists on the Pompey bench, but they're not secrets, are they, Matt?
Well, no, they've named the Pompey substitute bench in full. Orient have done the opposite. There's a couple down as named as trialists, but I'm sure the supporters watching on will be trying to find out who they are.
And it's Leyton Orient to get this game off and underway. Attacking the North Stand in the first half, and of course this game being played behind closed doors. As the ball goes out to the right hand side, touched on by Thompson. Then a firm header goes towards Thompson. Portsmouth clear, the ball bounces on the edge of the centre circle, and Connorwood lays it back to Lawrence Figure. It's good to see him back in goal. He was ill, of course, over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, and Portsmouth as well, who starts this evening. As you say, both those players missed out in the last couple of games, and a few fears around Paul Smyth, but good to see him starting this evening.
And Portsmouth trying to get behind the O's defence with Curtis making his way towards the Orient penalty area, and he's got support from Michael Jacobs. And here's Marlon Pack back at the club where he started his career, and he lays it out to the left hand side, and Ogilvie with the cross takes the deflection, and the first corner of the evening goes to the visitors.
It was a decent delivery, wasn't it, from the left hand side. Orient's right, Conor Ogilvie perhaps had too much room, but had time to take a touch, look up, whip the ball across in the end. Connor Wood done well, just turning the ball away for a corner.
So it's a corner kick. Sees Portsmouth get plenty of players forward, with 4 pushing and shoving for a few inches in and around the penalty spot, and the ball is delivered towards the edge of the 6-yard area, and it's a header that wasn't too far away from the target.
Ogilvie in the mix on that occasion, just in a match with Ethan Coleman to get towards that near post. It was a decent delivery. It was Michael Jacobs on the far side who whipped it in with the right foot. Excellent run from McGilvey towards the near post, and then just couldn't put the header on target. And restart the game with Lawrence Figure. He's taking it short.
It's good to see Paul Smyth up front, back after injury. He's playing in a central position. So the trialist isn't as where we expected, is he? Should we go through this lineup, Matt?
Yeah, we'll start obviously with the O's lineup with Lawrence Figure in goal. It's a back 4 this evening. Connor Wood at left back, the 2 centre halves, Shad Ogie and Omar Beckles, right back Adam Thompson. So Ethan Coleman and Darren Pratley are playing the 2 holding midfielder roles, with Theo Archibald on the right, George Moncur in the middle. So the trialist is on the left hand side with, as you say, Paul Smyth down that central position, which wasn't what we was informed, wasn't what we was expecting, but it's certainly Paul Smyth who is playing the furthest up the pitch.
Do you recognise him, the trialist, at all?
I don't, I must be honest.
No.
There wasn't a face that instantly came to mind. Looking at his build, small, similar to Paul Smyth in terms of height, stature.
He reminds me of Dave Thomas back in the day. You don't remember him at Queen's Park Rangers and Burnley, but he's also playing with his socks quite sort of low down as well, as out on the far side. The ball goes away for a throw to Portsmouth. They finished 10th last season, 11 years outside of the Championship, and they were 10 points off the final playoff place, which for a club the size of Pompey is disappointing.
Definitely, it's more competitive every year. Look at the clubs that have been in League One for the last few years, and Portsmouth certainly would have hoped by now they would have found their way back into the Championship. And Cowley now, of course, the manager down at Fratton Park.
Yes, taken over from Kenny Jackett back in March 21. Kenny took charge at Portsmouth in June 17. It's on the left-hand side. Connor Wood firing in an awkward cross, dealt with well by Clark Robinson, and that's a throw to the O's.
Should be an evenly matched contest this evening, despite Portsmouth being in the league above Orient. It's a decent side. Started well, looks competitive. A few challenges going in early doors.
Yes, it's another throw to the O's. Wood takes. Shadrach Ogie finds Omar Beckles. Beckles plays it short to Darren Pratley. Beckles again, with Ogie to his left. Shadrach Ogie switches it out to the right-hand side. Too much for Adam Thompson.
Interesting, we saw a couple of attempted long diagonal passes from Omar Beckles on Saturday. I think he was the only player to play the full 90 minutes. Wonder whether he will again this evening. I'd be surprised, but on that occasion it was Shad Ogie looking for the diagonal crossfield pass, just slightly overhit it.
Ogilvie, the former Gillingham man, to take this throw, gets distance on it, causes problems for Omar Beckles. He's under a little bit of pressure here on the edge of the penalty area, and the pass finds Lance Vigru, who picks out Connor Wood. Wood looks up as he makes his way towards the halfway line, moves into the Pompey half, and it's Archibald who finds Paul Smyth on the edge of the penalty area, and he pulls it back to Moncur. And here's the trialist trying to impress. Almost got in the telling pass, didn't he, Matt? But here comes Portsmouth with the counter-attack, and it's Jacobs who's leading it in a central position, and it's the trialist who got back well. That was a good tackle.
He worked hard there to get back when it looked as though Jacobs was on the counter. That's
an excellent pass that finds Paul Smyth. Smyth makes his way into the visitors' penalty area. Right foot shot deflected for Leyton Orient's first corner of the night.
Good thinking by Paul Smyth. Didn't really have any options to his left or right, so just shifted the ball quickly onto his right foot. In the end, it was Joe Rafferty who got the important block, which had Josh Griffiths backpedaling momentarily. Realised it was going over the top of the crossbar, and it will be an Orient corner.
So it's a corner kick, which Theo Archibald is going to take. And the O's have got players on the edge of the box and one inside the 6-yard area on the goal line, and that's Paul Smyth. Archibald then with this corner kick eventually, and the ball is played to the trialist. Got a bit of space here on the edge of the penalty area. Looks comfortable on the ball. He invites the tackle. Spoke too soon. He, in the end, wanted too long on the ball. And it's cleared by Curtis. 5th season with Portsmouth, and that's a throw to Leyton Orient.
Yeah, disappointing finish from that corner from the O's. Archibald waited, delayed, he went short, got it into the feet of the trialist, who just took one touch too many, was dispossessed, and Portsmouth managed to clear their lines.
Understand that you're a little quiet according to some of the feedback we're getting on Twitter, Matt, so I don't think we can turn you up, so we'll have to put you closer to the microphone, I suppose. But at least everybody can hear us, which is better than it was on Saturday. And again, apologies for the technical difficulties that we had on that occasion. We've had almost 10 minutes here, and it's not too much to report, Matt.
Not been any attempts at goal so far, but it's been a decent encounter pre-season. You always wonder what the tone will be like from the moment the referee blows the whistle, but it's fairly active, decent tempo so far.
The O's are out in Portugal. Portsmouth were in Spain for a couple of weeks, I think, for their pre-season preparations. And they played one team, that was Qatar, but not the national club. It was the national team. It was Qatar FC, who they beat by 2-0. They lost at Gosport. They beat Gillingham at the weekend. Havant and Waterlooville. It was a comfortable victory at the start of pre-season by 3-0. It's goalless here. It's on the left-hand side. Connor Wood plays it back to Shadrach Ogie. Ogie finding Coleman. Now it's Moncur to Ogie. It's a good ball. Connor Wood plays it with intent. It was deflected away from the trialist. Portsmouth look well organised at the back, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's interesting really when you look at the physicality of the defensive line for Pompey, that back four. So you might have to be aware of the pace from Paul Smyth, but so you expect them to dominate physically anything in the air.
Behind closed doors, it's hardly surprising that there's a lot more people out on the balconies tonight.
So it's turned out it's a lovely evening now, isn't it? A cool breeze coming through where we're situated in the East Stand.
It's quite a cloudy sky up above, isn't it? As the ball is hit long by Shadrach Ogie towards Paul Smyth. It's cleared as Coleman picks up the loose ball very nicely. Moncur to Archibald in a central position, goes for goal, and it was worth a shot.
It was worth taking it on. No one really closed him down, and Theo Archibald just shifted the ball with his left foot, looked up, decided to take it on, hit it well enough, just didn't quite have the accuracy.
So it's a goal kick for Josh Griffiths to take, signed recently on loan from West Bromwich Albion. Could be for the season, but there is a recall, I understand, as there often is for goalkeepers.
Yeah, played a number of games in the under-21s, highly thought of. Portsmouth wasted no time in bringing him to the club.
No, he's the third choice, I understand, at the Hawthorns, as Josh Griffiths lays it out towards the far side. Manova plays it back to Griffiths. It's a long clearance. Shadrach Ogie's shirt's being pulled, but he did well to pick out Coleman. But Portsmouth have it with Curtis. And the Irishman plays it short as Joe Rafferty is on the right-hand side for Danny Cowley's side. Minoga grabbed 3 caps for his country. As out on the left-hand side now, as Ogilvie gets in the cross. As Ethan Coleman moves towards the halfway line, finds Connor Wood. Shadrach Ogie now in possession. Omar Beckles to his right. Beckles plays it short to Darren Pratley. Pratley got it wrong really, and he caught Michael Jacobs in the process. He sort of turned into trouble, didn't he, the captain?
You have to say that's a nasty one really from Darren Pratley there. And he just overrun the ball. Michael Jacobs stole it off him, and Pratley was committed. It was a strong challenge, and he was having a word in his ear from the referee here. So I don't think there was any intent to injure the player. It was just overrun. And so he did catch Jacobs, who I'm sure a lot of Pompey fans watching on will be pleased to see is back on his feet. That was a heavy challenge.
It was third season with Pompey for the former Wigan and Wolves man. It's Jacobs who's okay, which is good to see. And it's a free kick to Portsmouth, which they're taking their time over. Pickett's tried to get behind the Leyton Orient defence. Marlon Pack is also forward. Ogilvie's the man who's got to take this set piece. Right arm aloft. And with the left foot, the ball is played just into the Leyton Orient penalty area. The flag goes up. Did you see why, Matt?
It went up early. I think it was Joe Piggott, the man who was adjudged to have been in an offside position. And he'll be happy to see the linesman's flag go up in the way it did, because all 4 defenders put their arms up.
And well, as you can imagine, there's 1 or 2 people that are speculating as to who the Orient trialist is. I suppose when you're sort of being streamed live, there is the opportunity to try and Google it. It's one of those pre-season sort of competitions and games that you play these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always interesting to say that clubs never seem to want to name the player in case they're potentially going to lose them to someone else, but I say I'm always slightly confused by that, because I'm sure their agents are running their names around the Football League, but there'll be plenty of people looking very closely, shall we say.
Moncur finds Shadrach Ogie. Ogie crosses the halfway line and plays it back to Ethan Coleman. Coleman to Omar Beckles. Beckles to Thompson. Theo Archibald trying to make space for himself, trying to find the telling ball. Just didn't quite work, did it?
Just the pass there from Archibald, which let him down after a really positive run. He looked sharp when he cut inside. Saw that a couple of times on Saturday versus Spurs under-21s when Archibald looked a real threat.
Wood trying to deliver the incisive pass. Leyton Orient playing with a very high line, Matt, at the back.
Yeah, but I think, to be fair, the Pompey forward line playing quite deep. Joe Piggott looks to be helping Ronan Curtis. They're not really playing high up the Orient pitch, and Ogie and Beckles seem quite composed at the moment.
Big season ahead for Joe Pigott. I think it was Baggage who went the other way, didn't he, to Ipswich Town for a lot of money, and it's a season loan for the former Wimbledon man, and yet there's no recall for the Tractor Boys. He's definitely going to be with Portsmouth for the whole season. And when you think how many goals he scored at Wimbledon, it was 47 goals in just over 70 appearances for the former addict. He's a good player, and there were so many strikers at Ipswich last season, weren't there?
Yeah, Danny Cowley obviously sees something in him. I think he certainly started his career well, and as you say, his goal record was right up there, but seems to have struggled the last 18 months or so. He's got an opportunity at Portsmouth, which of course is a decent sized club. They'll be looking to get the best out of him for this campaign.
Marlon Pat takes the free kick, and it's a short one. It's Portsmouth that have possession with Carl Robinson. And that was good work by Paul Smyth, putting pressure on Noga. Gets the ball back to Griffiths. Ogilvie with an early ball to Pickett. And he tries to play in Curtis. It was read well by Omar Beckles. Connor Wood to Shadrach Ogie, who's played it into the back of his own net. He was under pressure, but I'm not too sure what he was trying to achieve there. He wasn't under that much pressure, and well, you won't want to see the replay of that one. It was a gift of a goal to give Portsmouth the advantage.
It's an incredible own goal, isn't it? He puts his hands up. I don't think Shad Ogie can believe what he's just done there. As you say, there was a bit of pressing from Portsmouth, but not to the extremes where he had to play that ball in the way he did, and just seemed a complete miscommunication between him and the O's goalkeeper. And you say the O's won down in bizarre circumstances
played it into
here.
the back of his own net.
Yes,
he was under pressure
into an open goal.
He clearly, I assume, thought it was a back pass and played it to where he thought Lawrence Figueroa would have been. And talking about mistakes, that's a mistake by Griffiths. He gives it straight to Archibald, whose shots is charged down by Marlon Pack, and Leyton Orient have another corner.
After the error from the O's to give Pompey the lead, we nearly saw it right up the other end, didn't we? Josh Griffiths there again, a misplaced pass, trying to clear his line straight to Theo Archibald. It really was a bizarre own goal by Shad Ogie, as you say. You will not want to see that again.
The trialist is the man who's going to take this one eventually. Plenty of pushing and shoving at the far post, but it goes to the near post, and it's comfortable for Portsmouth to clear, and Connor Wood lets it bounce inside the centre circle and then lays it back to Lawrence Figueroa. Figueroa with the left foot trying to find Omar Beckles, and it's Beckles' header that goes behind Paul Smyth. And Paul Smyth sort of lurking with intent behind Nola. As Marlon Pett now has possession for Portsmouth. He's a proper Portsmouth supporter. He started his career, he's moved on to Cheltenham and then to Cardiff. I think he's always lived in Portsmouth, and what is surprising with the deal, he's got tickets for all his family, which Danny Cowley really appreciated apparently. It's Portsmouth with possession on the edge of the penalty area. It's a decent cross into the box. Thompson with another own goal, was it, Matt? Or was
I think
that
Joe
one going to be
Pigott
played by
will claim
Pigott?
that. Yeah, Joe Pigott with the final touch there. It was an excellent move from Portsmouth. Good delivery right into the mix as well. Lawrence Figueroa, he's pointing to where Joe Pigott has put that away, and I think he's asking questions of his two centre halves, Omar Beckles and Shad Ogie. I'm sure they'll be asking the question, could he have come and collected it? But it was definitely a decent delivery.
It was an excellent delivery, and Thompson was very close to Joe Pigott, wasn't he?
And not close enough, and Joe Pigott found the second for Portsmouth. Predatory goal from the striker. Say, just anticipated where that ball was going to be, attacked it, got there ahead of the defender. And after what has been a fairly even start, Portsmouth have doubled the lead.
Yes, and it was been easy for them, isn't it? Leyton Orient's problems of their own making, and those problems being the heart of the defence. As the ball is headed forward by Darren Pratley. And this is a good Portsmouth team, isn't it? They're looking forward to next season, and trying to improve, definitely at the very least, push for the playoffs. It's a throw to the visitors. There's plenty of substitutes for the O's. I don't think there's going to be any changes in this first half yet though, Matt, despite the problems at the back.
Yeah, I think we'll see a fair few in the second half, no doubt about it. No less than 14 players on the Orient bench this evening.
Ball is drifted out towards the far side. Since taking the lead, there is no doubt that Portsmouth are beginning to stretch this game. Hackett's caused a few problems. He does again. That was a decent tackle by Wood on the former Dagenham, Redbridge and Bromley winger. It's now with Jacobs. Jacobs threads it forward into the Leyton Orient box. Back to Lawrence Vigouroux. Vigouroux's clearance is met by Arlen Peck, and now we can see the new floodlights, and they are an improvement, aren't they?
And certainly, so far, you can see as they've just come on, investment by the O's, which hopefully will help them throughout the campaign.
It's not just the 4 floodlight pylons, they're under the roofs of both the Justin Edinburgh and the East Stand, although it's only the East Stand lights that are on at the moment and the 4 pylons, so it could even be brighter than this. They talk about championship standard. It is a notable difference.
Yeah, without doubt. There's always a question, particularly in the corners at times. It could get a little bit dark, and so our first glimpse of the new floodlights. Reasonable investment, 6-figure sum, I believe. It's cost the club in the summer.
Out on the far side, Leyton Orient pressing forward, trying to get back into the game. It's Portsmouth that have possession. Coming forward is Arlen Peck. Finds Ogilvie. And the pack once more to Griffiths. Griffiths plays it out towards the far side. What's going through Richie Wellens' mind at the moment with his side trailing by 2 goals to nil?
Well, it was interesting a few minutes ago, even from this distance, I could hear Richie Wellens screaming press to his players and asking them to work harder, particularly in the middle of the park. I think you have to take into account the conditions. It is very hot this evening, but he's demanding a lot more at the moment, the Orient manager. He'll be disappointed to see them losing by 2 goals to nil. Portsmouth now just starting to command things, seeing more of the ball, looking much more confident in possession and, say, moving it around nicely.
They certainly are. And the ball goes back now to Lawrence Vigouroux. Vigouroux plays it short to Omar Beckles. Adam Thompson to his right-hand side. The O's go to Dagenham on Saturday. And then, of course, it's Grimsby here on the 30th of July. Start of what's going to be a fascinating, very competitive season. It was interesting speaking to Richie Wellens after the game and the victory over the Spurs youngsters. He was talking about possibly 15 teams that could be realistically pushing for a playoff place or better. I'd agree with him, wouldn't you?
Well, my gut feel is that I think this season will be harder than the last campaign. There will be more teams likely to be competing. You could say 15 teams, maybe 10 at least, will be looking to secure a place in League One. But certainly interesting watching sides. A lot of signings being made at the moment from a lot of clubs, making those final touches to their squads for the campaign ahead.
Beckles gave it away. It's Portsmouth, play it forward. It's Pratley who picks out Archibald. Archibald to Smyth. And Smyth driving forward, making space in the penalty area. Gets in the shot, which is blocked by Robinson at the expense of another Orient corner.
Yeah, excellent running from Paul Smyth. Quick feet again. Got the ball out of his body, looking to hit it hard and low across goal. In the end, it was an important block. That's what you expect from Paul Smyth, running at defenders, causing real headaches.
There we go. We're getting all this feedback about your microphone, Matt. Hopefully it's okay now.
Oh, I have no involvement in the technology. I just get what I'm given, Dave.
I know what you mean. It is a corner kick to the O's, one for Theo Archibald to take. in front of Kitchen Court with the left foot. The ball is fired in, and Thompson's glancing header wasn't too far away.
That was a decent corner, wasn't it? They really whipped in from the left foot of Theo Archibald, and Adam Thompson done really well to get across to the near post. See what he was looking to do. Got ahead to it. Wasn't too far away.
No, so it's Griffiths who's going to take this goal kick after a water break, Matt.
Yeah, I think probably sensible given today's temperatures. Not something you typically want to see in pre-season friendlies because it can disrupt the flow of the game, but I think tonight you can make an exception.
Yes, I think we've got the experts now looking at the levels, and hopefully everything is okay. But it's just fine adjustments. What a contrast to the weekend, Matt.
Well, absolutely. And you say it's tonight. Obviously, Richie Wellens first and foremost. He'll be looking at the performance. He'll want to make sure that the players come through the game unscathed. Don't want to be picking up any further injuries. Obviously, no Tom James this evening, not even on the bench. So I'm sure the O's will be looking closely at that. Hopefully, nothing too serious.
And the other lights now come on. The lights are on all four sides, aren't they, Matt?
Yes, they are. So possibly you could argue not really required at this moment in time, but there are one or two.
Again, you've got to test these things,
over.
haven't you, pre-season?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't want to see any calamity floodlight failure, particularly if we're winning at home. They look quite impressive from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, championship standard lights. Would they cause difficulties for goalkeepers? You don't often see them behind the goals, do you?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so, to be honest with you, Dave. I think particularly given what you've seen historically, the big floodlight pylons are a thing of the past now, aren't they? Even you look at these new ones here, just 7 light bulbs on them, and very different to, say, ones from years gone by.
Absolutely. So the drinks have been taken. It's just like your cricket. How is the Leyton Orient Cricket Club getting on at the moment, Supporters Cricket Club?
Yeah, doing all right, Dave. Won a few, lost a few. Enjoying it as always.
You were the player of the season last year, weren't you?
I did pick up that award, yeah. I've done all right so far.
And your personal sort of performances this season, Matt?
Yeah, put a few runs on the ball, but still only halfway through the season. And cricket season's got plenty of games to be played yet.
Yeah. You middle order, or do you lead the batting?
Wherever the captain tells me I'm batting is where I'm batting, Dave.
And you bowl as well? All-rounder?
Yeah, I'll do what I'm told. So
good for you. Well, the game resumes, and it's a header by Ogilvie. It finds Jacobs. Ogilvie making the overlapping run. Darren Pratley tries to make the challenge. It's Thompson at the second time of asking. He tries to head the ball clear. Touched on by Moncur, falls short of Archibald. Robinson pulls it back into the centre circle. Brignola. They're a big side, this Portsmouth team, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And I mentioned early on in the commentary, I think I'm probably going to struggle to win too many headers with Paul Smyth and the trialist. I'm the biggest in height, but where Orient have looked a threat, there's been a couple of occasions, Archibald and Smyth running at them, quick feet, direct running with pace. That seems to be the way forward in perhaps unlocking this Portsmouth door.
We're expecting plenty of substitutes in this game. There's virtually a full set to come on for both clubs, but it's going to be a much younger Portsmouth team when they do make those changes, whereas Leyton Orient, it's a mixture, isn't it?
Yeah, there's certainly more youth on the Orient bench, there's no doubt about that. A number of the academy players, 2 goalkeepers, Sam Sargent, Reece Byrne, Emmanuel Quachi, Dan Happy, Craig Clay, Will Satiru, Ashley Karoma, no relation to Josh, Anthony Giorgio, Charlie Pegram, Harrison Soji, Sonny Fish, Secho Biero, and 2 trialists complete the Orient bench this evening.
Shedrack Ogie's been tripped by Joe Pickett, and it's a free kick to the O's. It's a very warm night, but it's a game being played at quite a slow tempo, Matt.
Yeah, it is. I think, say, for me, Portsmouth look in control at the moment, or not really causing too many problems. You say the heat, the conditions, has certainly slowed up the tempo of the game and the pace of the game.
Ogie almost showed too much of it to Piggott, got away with it, and he finds Lawrence Vigouroux outside his penalty area. Vigouroux looks up and he gives something for Connor Wood to chase in vain. The defending from Portsmouth almost let in Theo Archibald. Coleman tried to pick up the loose ball, failed to do so. Beckles losing out to Curtis. Hackett wide on the left-hand side. Plays it forward. And across into the penalty area. Hackett is there, back to goal. Still with Hackett. He's got support from Marlon Peck. Hackett again. And it's the trialist who puts it into touch for Portsmouth throw.
Yeah, he's looked quite useful, hasn't he? Recco Hackett on the right-hand side, often using his left foot to cut in. Saw it again there with occasions. Now he tries to get beyond Connor Wood. Not sure if he kept the ball in. I don't think he has. Is it going to be a throw-in for the O's? No, it's a goal kick.
It is. He scored a few goals when he was at Bromley, didn't he, Hackett? And starting his career, of course, at Dagenham. I think it was Kenny Jackett that brought him to Fratton Park.
Yeah, again, quite tall, isn't he? Quite physical, but he's also got a little bit of pace about him as well.
Portsmouth have it on this near side. Their left. Beckles intercepts and finds Darren Pratley. Pratley moves towards the halfway line before plays it square. Gets the return ball from Connor Wood. Omar Beckles has got Thompson to his right. And Thompson picks out Theo Archibald. Back again to Adam Thompson. Thompson to Omar Beckles. Beckles to Shadrach Ogie. Ogie to Connor Wood. Back to Shadrach Ogie. Ogie crossing the halfway line. With the outside of the left foot, he finds Paul Smith. A little bit of pace from Smith, making this opportunity for Theo Archibald. Oh, that was a good save.
That was an excellent save, a good move from the O's. And again, it's Smith and Archibald causing the problems. Quick feet from Paul Smith and moved the ball. Lovely pass into the path of Theo Archibald. You could see what he was trying to do, bend it with that left foot into the top corner.
Well, Josh Griffiths demonstrating why they think so highly of him at West Brom. And it's a corner kick to the O's. The trialist to take. In front of Cunningham Court, he's taken his time over this one. With the right foot, it's drilled in towards the near post. And the clearance comes out to Archibald, he goes for goal, and it was just grazing the top of the bar.
Yeah, I think he actually hit the extension, didn't it, at the back. It was a decent effort from Archibald. Didn't need asking twice. In the initial corner, which to say was a little bit disappointing. Didn't beat the first man, but Archibald reacted first. It was an effort on goal, that's for sure.
Ogilvie plays it back to Clark Robinson, the former Rotherham man, is now 28 years of age. Hackett trying to find Pickett. Behind him is Jacobs. Jacobs brought down on the edge of the box by Adam Thompson, who was shown a clear pair of heels by Curtis, wasn't he? Robinson, rather.
Yeah, he got the better of him, didn't he? I think it was Michael Jacobs who just cut inside, and Adam Thompson, so he was committed to the challenge, missed the ball, missed the man, and in the end just left out a cheeky trip. He's
Thanks,
presented
Matt.
them with a good opportunity here.
Thanks, Matt. So it's Jacobs over the ball. Pickett is also there. And so too is Curtis. Who's going to take it, Matt? 3 in the Orient wall. It's a decent position, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it favours the right foot, which would suggest that might be Michael Jacobs, but we'll wait and see. As you say, Pickett is over the ball, as is Ronan Curtis.
Jacobs looks focused, doesn't he? And he is, and he goes for goal, and the ball does its job. It's a corner.
Absolutely. Aaron Pratley. The ball smack in the face from the free kick. As you say, it did its job.
There's still that little breeze in the air. It's actually quite a pleasant evening, isn't it? Not too hot. Although I'm glad I'm not playing. I'm glad I'm not playing.
Relieved to hear that. But
it's a corner kick to Portsmouth. It's a decent one, headed clear by Coleman. Portsmouth pick up the second ball once more, and they have it on the left-hand side. Jacobs has got time to pull it back to Thompson. Jacobs to Thompson. As Hackett plays it into the path of Rafferty. Started his career at Rochdale. He was released by Preston at the end of last season. It's picked up by Danny Cowley. Two sider pressing forward, looking for a third as the ball has been turned into touch by Thompson. And in line with the Leyton Orient penalty area, it's a throw to Portsmouth. Curtis will leave this one for Ogilvie to take. Clark Robinson to Ogilvie. Portsmouth looking very comfortable on the ball. And the flag goes up. And there is no doubt that Michael Jacobs knew he was offside.
Yeah, it was a little bit lazy from him there, wasn't it? After good passage of play, only possession for Pompey. Jacobs didn't look up. He was in a clear offside position.
Lawrence Vigouroux finding Shadrach Ogie. Darren Pratley to his left. Pratley with the right foot chips it forward. Doesn't find Paul Smyth, but it does fall to the trialist. And the trialist pings it back to Moncur, who's got Connorwood to his left. And his cross is turned away for a corner, or is it? No, it's kept in play. Rafferty with the clearance. Curtis with space on the right. The tackle is made by Coleman. The trialist gives it back to Ethan Coleman. Coleman finding Wood. Wood back to Coleman. Pratley inside the centre circle. Skipper to the right and Thompson. Back again to Darren Pratley. Pratley picking out Coleman. Coleman now to Moncur. Good ball from Moncur. Wood. Back again to George Moncur. Moncur gets the return touch from the trialist, then just ran out of space. And the flag stays down as Lawrence Vigouroux comes out to make the challenge on Jacobs.
It's important goalkeeping now because I think he was in an onside position. Eccles and Thompson wanted the flag, but he just got caught there. Lawrence Vigouroux, aware of the danger, raced out, cleared the ball.
Ogilvie with the throw comes out to Robinson. He plays it into the centre circle and Lewis Thompson. And the Welshman, formerly with Norwich, finds Hackett. Hackett tried to get away from Connorwood. The decision goes against the Orient defender. I thought it was a bit harsh, Matt.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it was a 50-50 challenge here, wasn't it? Wood against Hackett. Decision goes in favour of the League One side.
Ball is back with Josh Griffiths outside the penalty area. Produced the best save of the game so far, no doubt about that one. Robinson finding Jacobs. Jacobs takes on Adam Thompson. And Thompson, not for the first time this afternoon, or tonight rather, brings down the Portsmouth wide man.
Yeah, he's caused him a few problems, hasn't he, Michael Jacobs? Adam Thompson hasn't looked comfortable in a one-on-one situation.
And the free kick was met with a header from Curtis. Be disappointed he didn't find the target with that one. Ogilvie finding Robertson. Robertson to Thompson. And Paul Smyth got pulled back then. That's a free kick. Paul Smith's okay, isn't he, Matt?
I hope so. He gets to his feet. But
he's gritting his teeth. You're never too sure, are you?
He just got caught, I think, the studs from Louis Thompson there, who was dispossessed. Again, Paul Smyth chasing the lost cause there and winning possession back. Thompson took him out immediately.
If fit, he could be such a big player for the O's this season, playing in the centre of the attack tonight as Moncur finds Archibald. Archibald inside the penalty area, surrounded by blue shirts, tries to regain possession for the O's. Portsmouth again looking so comfortable on the ball under pressure inside their own penalty area, and it goes back to Josh Griffiths. Griffiths delivers it long, and it's Connorwood who lets it bounce. And then he lays it back to the man in all green, Lawrence Vigouroux. Shadrach Ogie, who finds Coleman. Coleman to Connorwood. Ogie to his right, and Omar Beckles. Thompson still inside the O's half. Archibald back to Thompson. Thompson back to Omar Beckles. There's very little space for the O's because of the excellent organisation and work off the ball by the visitors. Way outside his penalty area is Lawrence Vigouroux. Wasn't one of his best of passes, but you can see what he's trying to achieve.
Yeah, looking to get Archibald away on this right hand side. He spotted Archibald in a bit of space, but fortunately overhit the intended pass, which allows Portsmouth to take the throw. Inside their own half, Ogilvie takes that throw.
Shadrach Ogie's header falls short of Connorwood. It's Hackett who brings it under control. So he makes his way towards the penalty area, still with Hackett. Tackle is made by Coleman. Moncur drifts it back to Connorwood. And Wood got caught then from behind on the Achilles. That hurt, and he's gone down knowing that's a friendly. The referee would stop the game.
And again, Hackett there just trying to win back possession for Pompey. As you say, just caught Connorwood on the back of the heel, I think. Carries on, a little bit of a limp about him. Hopefully something he can walk off relatively comfortably.
So it's with Shadrach Ogie, and Ogie in turn to Lawrence Vigouroux. Vigouroux to Omar Beckles. Just been that one real chance, hasn't there, for the O's? It was a good chance as well for Theo Archibald. Leyton Orient pinned back in their own half for quite long periods, as they are now with Shadrach Ogie. Ogie out to the left from Connorwood, first time touch back to Shadrach Ogie. Ogie finding Omar Beckles. It was that own goal that really did sort of change the mood on the pitch, as Paul Smyth picks up a loose ball, chases towards the byline, forced out towards the corner flag. Still with Paul Smyth, slips, recovers, still with Paul Smyth. He's got past the defender. Robertson didn't give up, and Smyth has gone down as Archibald gets in the cross, and the trialist was being pulled back a little bit then, wasn't he, by Rafferty, but it's a corner to the O's, and Paul Smith's okay. He's not happy. He's having a word with the assistant. He did get some attention, didn't he, from Robertson?
Yeah, he's having more than a word with the linesman. He wasn't happy that the free kick wasn't given his way, still continuing to berate the official.
So it's the trialist to take the corner kick. And the ball is curled in, almost found Coleman, but it's turned away, and it's another corner to the O's on this near side.
Yeah, that was a better delivery from the trialist. The right foot in swinging corner. And Adam Thompson looking to sneak in around the back post.
Charlie Daniels is the special guest with Ollie and Brandon, and he's looking very well, isn't he? Started his career here, and of course went on to play at the very highest level with AFC Bournemouth. It's a corner kick for Theo Archibald to take, and there's pushing and shoving at the far post. Again, Paul Smyth involved, and the referee, whose name I don't know, do you, Matt?
It's not on the
having a
team
word.
sheet. It was Michael Jacobs and Paul Smyth, though, having a bit of a tug of war there.
Archibald with the left foot finally delivers it towards the edge of the 6-yard area. That comes off Pratley's head, and Pompey puts it into touch.
Haven't really looked under any pressure, have they, with the set pieces? Portsmouth defensively looked relatively sound, looked organised. Really haven't caused too much for Josh Griffiths to worry about, aside from that effort you mentioned from Theo Archibald, the left-footed strike, which looked as though it was bending in the top corner, but outstretched right-handed save from the goalkeeper prevented the O's from finding their way onto the score sheet.
Shadrach Ogie then with the throw, and it's a long one, it's a good one, looking for Omar Beckles. Portsmouth deal with it, but the loose ball is picked out by Theo Archibald. Coleman finds Shadrach Ogie. And that's a good ball to Smyth. Good shot! And Leyton Orient back in it with an excellent strike from Paul Smyth.
That's a fantastic goal, isn't it? And excellent pass from Ogie straight into the path of Paul Smyth, who just let the ball run across his body, one touch, and then bang with the left foot, low and hard. Gave the goalkeeper very little chance. It's a wonderful finish, and once again just shows the quality that Paul Smyth has got in the locker.
Psychologically, it's a big boost coming just before the half-time cuppa.
Yeah, I think so, without a doubt. So he should give the O's a little bit of motivation. Can still go on and win this game, but that's at the back of the mind of Richie Wellens, of course. He's more interested in the performance and the fitness and the conditioning of these players, and that looks sharp from Paul Smyth.
Yes, and the approach play was excellent as well. As Portsmouth with Nola. Danny Cowley were disappointed that his side won't get a clean sheet. They've had 1 or 2 in pre-season. It's now with Omar Beckles. Pratley to Beckles. Coleman finds Shadrach Ogie, and that's it. What do you make of the opening 45, Matt?
Yeah, it was an intriguing 45 minutes of football there. I think the score is a fair one as it stands. Portsmouth have caused 1 or 2 problems, most notably down this Orient right-hand side. But good to see them pull a goal back just before half-time with an excellent finish, an excellent strike from Paul Smyth, and good to see him finding the back of the net and, more importantly, full of fitness and vitality.
Half-time, Leyton Orient 1, Portsmouth 2. Let's go pitch side now and join Ollie Buck.
Thank you very much, Dave. I'm of course joined here pitch side by Brendan Pitcher and Orient legend Charlie Daniels. And it's been a hot, sweaty first half, I'm sure, for the players out there. But what did you make of the performance from both sides there, Charlie?
Yeah, I think it's been good. It's very hot, so you can see why everyone struggled a little bit. But as a game, I thought Portsmouth played really well. You know, I thought they dominated possession, and as I said before, with that front four, you know, they created a lot of problems.
And we'll come on to the action, but the O's would have probably maybe found themselves a little bit unfortunate to find themselves 2 goals down in such an early stage, and especially that first goal, the manner in which we conceded it wasn't that impressive.
Yeah, 1 goal was a bit of like a freak goal, if you will, wasn't it? And I think you can kind of discount that in a game like this. It's just one of those things that happens. And when you look on the balance of play, I think Orient can probably go in at half-time thinking they probably deserve to be in and around it. And it's a good thing that they got back into it with that goal from Paul Smyth just before half-time.
Absolutely. And you know, we spoke before the game about the fact that Portsmouth are League One opposition, and the O's didn't look too mismatched, especially in those early stages before we conceded.
No, I thought they were very comfortable, you know, obviously before the first goal, but, you know, they were very composed, you know, kept the ball in front of them, and, you know, Paul Smyth up front was a big threat in the first half. You say it was just probably that little bit of quality in the final third, probably a little bit lacking, but you know, that goal right at the end was a touch of quality from Paul Smyth.
It certainly was. We know that that's what Paul Smyth is capable of, but how tough is it to play in this setup when your 3 strikers are all kind of well below 6 foot? Maybe Theo Archibald's the tallest at about 5'10". It must be hard to play against, especially such a tough league on defence. Yeah,
definitely. You definitely can't be chucking balls in the box, that's for sure. So you're going to have to find different ways. You're going to have to find little pockets, you know, through balls, stuff like that, runs in behind. And so I think as the game went on, I think they started to create that. Now, whether they change it in the second half, we'll have to see. But, you know, if they can get Paul Smyth on the ball, Theo Archibald on the ball, you know, a bit more and get them driving at that defence, you know, they can cause them problems.
And let's look at the O's defensively, starting with that first goal that we'll see on the screen now. We know what Shadow G's capable of, and we know what he can do with the ball, but this is maybe the side that Richie and himself, Shad, will be looking to maybe iron out of his game, and he'll be quite happy that this didn't happen in a league match.
Yeah, I think it's one of them where, like you say, you're happy it's in a friendly, and we know what Shad can bring. He's very good at bringing the ball out the back and dribbling out with it, and I think it was just a kind of moment of lapse of concentration. Maybe you can blame the heat for getting to him a little bit, but Portsmouth pressed really well in that first half, and that was an example of it. I think Shad's kind of just turned the wrong way where he should be turning out. He's turned inside, kind of panicked when Vigouroux's out to his left, and he's tried to play it in the centre of a goal, and obviously we've all seen it. It's a freak goal. It's not a nice one to look at, but you can see why it's happened, and like you say, hopefully it's out of the way now ahead of the season.
Absolutely. And moving on to the second goal though, Charlie, I'm sure you'll be taking some pride in it. I think you called this one pretty much spot on your Orient Live debut as well. That second goal, sorry, a more honourable one to concede maybe.
Yeah, it was good work out wide by Rico Hackett, and then chopped on his left side and put the ball in, and that's where Joe Pigott thrives, inside that 6-yard box, and it was a nice tidy finish.
And aside from those 2 goals, obviously it was gutting to find ourselves 2 goals down, but how do you feel the O's responded to that?
Yeah, I think they did well. I think it was kind of that sucker punch, one after the other. Perhaps the side after that first goal where we said it's a bit of a freak, Orient struggled to kind of gain their composure, and it gave Portsmouth a lift, and they got that second goal. But after the second goal, Orient really kind of composed themselves, went again, had better spells, had a number of set pieces that fortunately nothing came to, but then did well to get back into it before the break. And
who's caught your eye in the Orient side in this first half, Charlie? There's been a few players come in recently who've maybe had a spell on the injury table, or a few players that are maybe looking to show Richie what they're all about. But who for you have caught their eye?
Yeah, I think the main one's Paul Smyth for me. He was a real threat to Portsmouth's back line, especially when he comes in them unorthodox 9 positions, off in the wide areas, start facing the centre halves up, drinking in and out, having a few shots, and Theo, once he starts getting him in them positions, where he wants to attack, he can cause a number of problems. And he was unfortunate with a wild attempt that just went over the bar. I'm
not sure if we've got that one clipped up. I think he's hit it on the half volley and hit the top of the crossbar. It looked like from when we were sat, but. We've spoken about what we know Paul Smyth can do, and he can make something out of nowhere. But you mentioned you saw it in the warm-up as well, Charlie. Theo's got that about him, and he's someone that if he does get a shot away from 30 yards, there's a good chance it's going in.
That's right. Yeah, he's definitely got talent and something about him, and he feels like he's a confidence player. And if he does get full of confidence, I've seen it last season when he was in full flow. He can cause defenders a lot of problems, and hopefully for Leyton Orient's sake, when the season starts, he can get hopefully a goal or 2 and be full of confidence going into the start of the season.
And going back to Paul Smyth, then he did manage to get a goal towards the end of that first half, and a fairly decent finish. Probably not the best by his standards that he set last season, but good for him to be getting in amongst goals in pre-season too.
Yeah, absolutely, and good movement for him, because it's not kind of perhaps his traditional position playing as the number 9, but it's showing what he can do and how he can adapt to the team. And like you say, when you're that kind of mobile little forward like he is, it's tough for a big centre back to mark you. So to get in the sides like he did, receive the ball, and just a nice, cool, calm, collected finish, it's a positive, and I'm sure we'll hopefully go see much more of that going ahead into the upcoming season.
Absolutely.
Today he puts himself about, he's put a few tackles in, showing that it's not a friendly, and that's what you like to see from your skipper, to show that kind of enthusiasm for the game and lead from the front there.
And they're key for obviously protecting that defence, and we've said about the goals we've conceded, maybe being a little bit sloppy. Maybe, do you think Richie might have seen a bit too much sloppiness so far this pre-season? Maybe it's something he'll be looking to iron out, not only in this second half but in our final game of pre-season.
Yeah, certainly. I think so far the results haven't been perfect in pre-season, but you can forgive that. But I think you look at some of the goals we've conceded, and they have been a bit sloppy. But I think that will come when you get a settled back four that he can work on and drill into them. And that's just what we haven't had so far. We've had a mix and match, and that's partly because of.
In case, Charlie, of almost getting it out their system now, working out their best back four and trying to get it settled in pre-season. So it doesn't really matter now, but it's nice.
I think Richie will be desperate to get a back four together. It's one that he can maybe get in the next couple of pre-season friendlies, before the season starts. And I think he'll be more out quickly before the season starts.
And obviously Tom James did go off with what looked like a little.
You need that focal point. You need that person you can play into and then work around. So I'm sure he'll be looking to try and fit someone in there and try to play a bit more in Portsmouth's half.
Well, you'll be forgiven for not knowing, Charlie, because we don't really have one on there with all the injuries at the moment. Obviously, Harry Smyth and Aaron Drynan both out on the sidelines. You've got young Sonny Fish, though, who only came out of non-league, I think, at the end of last season. He's 18, very fresh. He hasn't played men's football really professionally, and Is he someone that maybe could be a surprise package for the O's this season? He might get his chance with these injuries.
Yeah, he impressed me in the second half against Spurs. For an 18-year-old, he's very good physically. He put himself about. He's run and who's probably got the most kind of natural ability. I think Obiero is right up there, and I think he's such a talented player that I think Richie and Paul Terry are going to have to really nurture over these next season or so. But I expect him to make an impact sooner rather than later. So yeah, if we can get him on the pitch.
More difficult in the sense of trying to get people to play 90 minutes. So I think Saturday, looking towards Saturday, I think he'll be more looking forward to his starting 11. As we said before, I think there could be a good few opportunities for some youngsters in this next 45, and if one or two catch the eye, then it gives Richie a good headache to have.
And let's take a look at Portsmouth. Then we haven't spoken about them too much. They maybe haven't looked too far off of us, or we haven't looked too far off of them. But where do you think they have any weaknesses that we could maybe exploit?
That's a good question. I thought Portsmouth actually were in control of the first half. I mean, I know they probably didn't have as much possession as they liked, but apart from a couple of chances that Orient had, they wasn't really too troubled. And you look at their centre half. If Portsmouth does come out second half and Theo gets up against Ogilvie at left back, who has a run at him, then that could cause them problems. But say Sonny Fish, if he comes off the bench and said I haven't seen him yet, but you say if he puts himself about and makes his presence felt, then he's going to cause them a lot of problems.
They have had a lot of joy, Portsmouth, at times. They've seemed to always find a man free and catch Orient on the break almost. And do you think we might see a maybe slightly more conservative Orient side and make sure we don't concede any more sloppy goals?
I think the sloppiness, I think Richie will try and get out. I mean, if they concede, if Portsmouth have great play, and score, I don't think he'll be too upset about that. But if it's another couple of sloppy goals, then Rich would be really upset with it. So I think for Orient's sake, it's cut out the sloppiness and keep doing what we're doing, and can we be a little bit better in the final third?
Well, it does feel like there's a storm brewing here, and I'm not talking about the players making their way back out onto the pitch, unfortunately. But we're not too sure if there's any changes that have been made yet. We'll leave that up to Dave Victor to let you know. And it is now time to pass back across to our match commentary team for the second half.
And Matt?
Just looking at the Pompey side, I don't believe there's been any changes for the opposition as yet, but there's certainly been a number for the O's. Probably easier if we try and work through them, because Sam Sargent has reappeared for the start of the second half. He's between the sticks. Dan Happy is out there, Jaden Sweeney is out there, Bruce Satirio is there, Sonny Fish, Craig Clay. Looks as though Shadogi may be continuing. Harrison Sodji is at the back. Other two substitutes for the O's, but it looks as though there's been a full sweep for Richie Wellens men. As I say, I don't believe there has been a substitution for the visitors.
No, so it's a completely different 11 for the O's in this second half as Portsmouth start the game.
I think one of the trialists has started the second half. It looks to be wearing the number 12 shirt at full back.
Yes, so the first half trialist has been replaced by a second half trialist. They're different people, same name.
I think it's a double actually, so I think
we've
got
two trialists.
Two trialists have started the second half. One at full back who's wearing the number 12 shirt, and the second one who's wearing the number 28 shirt, who's playing in a much more forward position, currently on the ball now on the right hand side for the O's.
The ball is launched long. There's still one or two experienced players in this Orient lineup in the second half. Should we go through the lineup, Matt?
Yeah, we'll do our very best. So Sam Sargent in goal. It looks as though Jaden Sweeney will be at left back. Dan Happy is at centre half with Harrison Sodji. The trialist in the number 12 shirt is at right back. Ahead of him, let's say in the midfield for the O's, just as he was on Saturday, Shadogi is alongside Craig Clay. Ahead of them is Ruel Satirio in the number 10 shirt for the O's. And it looks as though it will be Zech Obiero who's playing behind Sonny Fish, and as I say, the second trialist of the second half, the third trialist of the night for the O's He's on the far side wearing the number 28 shirt.
So Shadrach Ogie, the only survivor from the first half, but he's playing in a different position.
Yeah, interesting that, isn't it? As I say, we mentioned on Saturday he moved into a midfield role, centre midfield in the second half. He's done the same again this evening.
And shall we remind everybody about how Portsmouth are lining up? It's a very strong side, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It looks as though it's a case of as you were, as Ronan Curtis looks to pick up the ball here.
Curtis driving forward with intent. Ogilvie to his left, and the former Gillingham man has got support from Lewis Thompson. Plays it into the Leyton Orient penalty area. Soji did well then. Here's Shadrach Ogie, who's got Soturio to his left, and Fish to his right. And comes out to Jaden Sweeney. Sweeney, he could go for goal. He finds Soturio, who I suspect will go for goal. In fact, he finds Shadrach Ogie, whose shot goes wide.
Yeah, it was an effort that was never really troubling Josh Griffiths in the Portsmouth goal. And we'll now take that opportunity to remind those Pompey supporters that are listening in of the 11 for the second half. As I say, it's unchanged with Josh Griffiths in goal. It's a back four with Rafferty, and then of course Robertson, Minoga, Gilvey, midfield Pack, Hackett on the right hand side, Thompson, Jacobs on the left, with Piggott and Ronan Curtis up top for Pompey.
Griffiths with the goal kick touched on towards Soturio. Nola made a decent tackle and he finds Robertson. Pack. It's just inside the Portsmouth half. Good support from Joe Rafferty. Rafferty lays it back to Griffiths. Fish wasn't too far away from it. As Robertson threads it forward, trialist tied it up neatly. Soji back to Sam Sargent. Long clearance from him. It goes from one goalkeeper to the other, Matt.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Sonny Fish does here in this second half. I thought he did well when he came on Saturday against Spurs under-21s. Obviously a very different test for him tonight. A physical, experienced defensive line he's up against, but he's got a little bit of pace about him, and his stature for a young man, physically, he looks quite tall, quite strong.
Good tackle, good interception rather by Jaden Sweeney. Big 45 for Dan Happy and Craig Clay as they return to full fitness after their lengthy layouts with significant operations. Craig Clay gave it away and diving at the feet of the Portsmouth striker Marlon Pack was Sam Sargent, coming to the rescue of Craig Clay on that occasion.
You have to say he's got him out of jail there. Craig Clay got caught on the ball. Again, perhaps a signal of that sharpness, not quite there yet. Got it stolen off him. Sargent raced out and took the ball off of Pack's toes.
Sweeney to Soturio, back to Shadrach Ogie. So touched on by the trialist. Cross into the box, not a particularly good one. And it goes through to Josh Griffiths.
Yeah, it's the combination trialist to trialist there, wasn't it? It was the forward, or the more forward of the two, that whipped the ball in with the right foot.
Out on the left-hand side is Curtis. Curtis being pursued by Shadrach, Soji, Harrison Soji. And it's a free kick that's been conceded.
Interesting, the second half, as you mentioned, Dan Happy, of course, has got plenty of experience, as has Craig Clay. Soturio now played more than enough games at Football League, but aside from that, two trialists and a very young side around them. Be interesting to see how they cope here.
Free kick conceded again. Obiero on that occasion. Quickly taken. Portsmouth spread the play out to the left-hand side. Ogilvie, a little touch with the outside of the right foot from Thompson. Clay again gives it away. The ball comes through to Marlon Pack. Good shot, good goal! And Portsmouth re-established the 2-goal advantage. Marlon Pack on target.
Yeah, it was an excellent finish, wasn't it? Right in the corner. Just wonder whether Sam Sargent will look at that, and did he have someone in front of him blocking his view? Because he seemed to dive very late for me. And whilst it was an excellent finish, I think Sargent might be disappointed there. He's not got a hand to it. But it is Marlon Pack who gives Portsmouth the third goal for them to extend the lead. Now Orient 1, Poultney 3.
There's a bit of an interest in the Orient defence. From an Orient perspective, it wasn't a good goal to concede. In fact, all three of them really, from an Orient perspective, weren't great.
Yeah, it was a good finish. I think the point the player was making there is he had time to control it, get the ball out of his body and then pick his spot. Should have been closed down much quicker.
That's a mistake by Sam Sargent. Hackett inside the penalty area, goes towards the byline, takes on Dan Happy. It's Jaden Sweeney who's challenged, comes out to Rafferty. Hackett goes beyond Dan Happy. Has he brought him down? He has. It's a penalty to the visitors.
Yeah, clever play from Hackett and completely skinned Dan Happy there. Just the drop of the shoulder, cut inside, quick feet. Mentioned his ability in the first half, and as I say, he's just dropped that shoulder there, left Dan Happy. He committed himself. Difficult position for a defender. You know you're in trouble. The outstretched leg brought him to the ground. A chance for Pompey to quickly grab a fourth.
I think Hackett fancied it then, but it's going to be Curtis to take this spot kick against Sam Sargent. Ron Curtis then steps up and with the right foot fires it into the bottom corner of the net. It was an excellent penalty. Goalkeeper went the wrong way, and it's now 4 for the visitors.
Yeah, comprehensive penalty that, wasn't it? Looked confident from the moment he picked up the ball. As you say, Hackett I think was interested, but Curtis wanted it, placed it down, slotted it home.
So Leyton Orient, having got back into the game just before half time. It's a long way back from here. It's not about the scoreline though, or the result. It is about the performance. It's about getting ready for 2 weeks' time when Grimsby are here.
Yeah, obviously a very different side in the second half for the O's, and you expect them to find it a little bit more challenging, these young players. And Pompey a little bit sharper. And we've just seen that then. Paul Smyth impressed in that first 45. It was a big loss in the second here. Of course, precautionary measure, having only just returned from injury. Sensible from Richie Wellens to give him a break and give him a rest.
So it's a free kick, I think, to Portsmouth. And it's one that is taken by Rafferty. Robertson sees Curtis in an offside position. And the Portsmouth substitutes beginning to warm up on the far side. They're going to make a few changes at the moment, aren't they, Matt? Yeah. Probably another water break to go first.
Yeah, I think so. Danny Cowley will probably wait to get to that hour mark and then look to give a few players on that bench an opportunity. Could be happy with the start of the second half, no doubt about that.
Happy, Shedrack Ogie, back to Dan Happy. Soji to Sam Sargent. Sargent finding Dan Happy. Happy to Soji. Plays it short to Craig Clay. Better from Clay, finds the trialist on the right hand side. Crosses the halfway line. Trialist again combining. The trialist on the right with a cross into the penalty area. Portsmouth deal with it well. The second trialist intercepts. Clay to Sweeney. Jaden Sweeney in a central position. Portsmouth blocked up the path forward, and Clay will be disappointed with that pass. It went behind Shedrack Ogie.
Yeah, just lack of concentration there. It was a relatively simple pass, wasn't it? Out to this left-hand side. Ogie was unmarked, and Craig Clay misdirected the pass and gives possession back to Portsmouth, which at this moment in time is the last thing Orient want, because they've started the second half well with the visitors and they'll look to continue to command control here.
Ball is drilled up into the air. Soji makes it with a good header and chasing back. Ogilvy to Thompson. Fish never gives up, but it's Portsmouth who play the ball out to this near side. Dan Happy has got some decisions to make here. He takes it coolly away from Joe Piggott. He finds Craig Clay. Clay Again, the pass, not what he wanted or needed. Looks to suddenly Fish. I'm not sure it's about Fish.
No, not at all. I think, again, Craig Clay, for me, just showed there he's perhaps just lacking that little bit of sharpness, needed to move the ball quicker. Not easy out there, of course. Say, young Orient side, a couple of trialists out there, he's going to have to work incredibly hard, but it was just a little bit too easy for Portsmouth there. Marlon
Pack to take this free kick, and he plays it square. Delivers it to Clark Robinson, the captain. And it's a pass that deceived the trialists, and it goes away for a throw to Portsmouth. Ogilvie back to Robertson. Enoga looking for Hackett, brings it under control, tackled well by Jaden Sweeney, drifts away for another throw to Portsmouth.
So he's still relatively early into the second half, but we haven't seen too much of Raul Sotiriou yet in terms of touches or possession of the football.
Ball is fired out towards this near side. Raul Sotiriou wins possession for the O's and moves forward with intent. Was he tripped? He was, by Lewis Thompson. It's a free kick to Leyton Orient. Thompson came off the worst from that one, although Sotiriou is also feeling it.
Yeah, I think he might have just tweaked the back of his right calf there, Louis Thompson. It was an interesting one because Sotiriou, I think, had almost sort of trod on the ball, lost possession, and Thompson just took it from underneath his feet, and in doing so, I think he might have injured himself. Certainly stretching the back of that calf, isn't he? And gets up. Danny Cowley certainly would be unwise to take any risk here. Be wise in terms of getting him off the pitch immediately.
So he's hobbling, is Raul Sotiriou. But I think he's okay. Jaden Sweeney is going to take the resulting free kick for the O's. It's played out towards the far side, falls short of the trialist. Craig Clay's header goes out towards young Ogilvie. Sonny Fish in pursuit. Dan Happy's header to the trialist, who's dispossessed by Curtis. Curtis wide on the left hand side. So Portsmouth keep possession inside the Orient half. It's now with Robertson. Josh Griffiths coming around at the penalty area to get a touch of the ball. It goes back to the West Bromwich Albion loanee. And the young goalkeeper with an excellent delivery out towards the left hand side. Ogilvie finding Joe Piggott. The pass comes out to Rafferty, leaves it for Hackett. Rafferty's made the overlapping run. So Rafferty cuts inside away from Jaden Sweeney. Clay with an excellent tackle inside the penalty area. He needed that one psychologically, didn't he? That was a good tackle.
Yeah, well timed from Craig Clay, covering play from him there.
Pack. Noga with time to shoot, took a bit of deflection, but Sam Sargent dealt with it well. Comes to the edge of the penalty area and rolls the ball out to the trialist on the right. He looks for the other trialist, who's also on the right on the edge of the penalty area, pulls it back, goes behind Fish, not far enough for Ogilvie to get there. Portsmouth on the left hand side keep possession. Their experience beginning to show now, isn't it?
I think, to be fair, Dave, it has from the moment they kicked off this second half. I think they've not really got out of second gear, Portsmouth, and coasting it at the moment.
Obiero chases, but it's with Josh Griffiths. Dan Happy wins the header, but it goes straight to Hackett. Hackett takes on Sweeney, tackled by Clay. Sweeney back to Dan Happy. Soji looks for options. There's not much movement ahead of him, that's why it goes square to the left. Happy to Jaden Sweeney. Again, the ball is still inside the O's half as Happy plays it square to Soji. Soji with no options ahead of him because Portsmouth are working so hard and effectively without the ball, closing down the space. It's back with Sam Sargent as a result. Sargent drives it long. Sweeney is the target. Rafferty is the man who wins it. Sweeney regains possession for Leyton Orient. Does well to find Craig Clay. Dan Happy to Soji. Soji did well then to take it away from Jacobs. The interception's made by Curtis. It's a throw which goes Orient's way, and the substitutes are about to be made for Portsmouth. They're first of the match.
Looks as though it's going to be a triple change for Danny Cowley's men here.
Are players going off for a drink as well, Matt? I think they are.
Yeah, taking the opportunity, which I guess is sensible whilst there's a break in play. The referee won't want to stop the flow of the game if he can avoid it. So this feels like a sensible opportunity being taken.
Pre-match, pre-season friendlies are always strange to sort of commentate on because you have sort of trialists and you either don't know the name or you're not really meant to reveal the name. But also I was listening to BBC Radio London and they were covering the West Ham game at Reading on Saturday in the second half. Lots of substitutes, none of them with numbers on their backs. I remember many years ago covering Queen's Park Rangers against Celtic live for BBC Radio London as a commentary. Pre-match, a pre-season match, Celtic came on in the second half, no numbers at all. I didn't have a clue, Matt. It was very difficult. Mind you, nothing changes really, does it?
Well, you always feel relatively confident you can spot your own players, but when it comes to the opposition, I think we've been given an advantage tonight, as you say, with Portsmouth actually listing their trialists on the team sheet. Brandon Pierrick and Tyrell Thomas in two of them. We're going to see, I think it's a triple change. We'll wait for confirmation as the players make their way back onto the pitch. Certainly noticed Rico Hackett was one of the players to make his way off. So it looks as though Jay Mingy has come on wearing the number 25 shirt. He'll go into midfield. So it looks as though Brandon Pierrick, one of those players we mentioned moments ago, has also been given his opportunity.
Who's that?
That was Brandon Pierrick, who's wearing the number 14 shirt.
One of the trialists coming on. Mingy, oh gosh, it's Griffiths coming out and taking out the Orient man. Is it Sonny Fish?
Yeah, it is. It was take no prisoners goalkeeping there, wasn't it? He raced out.
Seemed very unnecessary under the circumstances.
It was a dangerous play, really. I'm surprised the referee is not having a serious word with the goalkeeper.
Well, Sonny Fish, who's played for the Welsh youngsters,
completely took him out.
Yeah.
I think the third substitution, Dave, just to clarify, I think Zach Swanson is the third player to come on for the visitors. So Swanson, Pierrick and Mingy are the three to come on. We know that Hackett has definitely gone off. We'll seek confirmation of the other two players that have left the field for Portsmouth.
Yes, Swanson was signed from Arsenal in the summer for an undisclosed fee, as often is the case. And you had these little sort of snippets of the show reels, and they reckon he can run as fast with the ball as he can without it, which is either a very good thing or a very bad thing, I suppose. But it is a free kick to the O's. Sweeney takes, glancing header from Minoga, goes away for Leyton Orient's first corner of the second half.
Yeah, definitely took a final touch off a Pompey man who has been caught there. He's holding the back of the hill. It will be the Orient's corner. There's a bit of wildlife going around Brisbane Road tonight.
Parakeets,
as well,
is it?
Dave. It is.
Green parakeets with a fly pass. So it's a corner kick to the O's. They got plenty forward. There's more parakeets come across. So this corner kick in front of the Tommy Johnson stand is delivered towards the far post, and it's comfortable for Josh Griffiths. It's early release to Curtis. Obiero with the corner kick. Portsmouth sweep it out to the left-hand side, and the aforementioned Swanson, whose cross had a bit of a curl on it. And Portsmouth are picking up the second ball inside the Orient half. It's now with the O's. Clay threads it out to Saturio. He's got Sweeney making the overlapping one on the left-hand side. It's still with Wall Saturio. Saturio looked for Fish. It's now with Jaden Sweeney. Sweeney's cross, not the best, and it's a throw.
Yeah, it gives the opportunity, which we'll probably take, Dave, to confirm the players that have left the field for Portsmouth. So 4 changes in total. We've brought on the trialist B, the one they didn't want to name on the team sheet. Trialist B is on the pitch, Swanson is on, Mingy on, and Tunnicliffe is on. The 4 that have gone off: Louis Thompson, Marlon Pack, Joe Rafferty and Rico Hackett. Real Satirio needing a bit of treatment, which...
not for the first time in this second half.
No, he's just been told to sit back down by the physio as well. He tried to get to his feet. Certainly got a problem there. Looks to be around the right thigh area for Real Satirio. Hopefully nothing too serious.
No. Injuries have been a cause of frustration for Richie Wellens this pre-season, particularly for strikers.
Yeah, it's not been ideal at all, has it? Let's be honest. You say Aaron Drynan at the moment, he's certainly not ready.
It's a quad injury, isn't it? And I think it's a calf injury, but at the front of the leg, the lower leg for Harry Smyth, I understand, might be back in training. We saw Paul Smith in the first half, of course.
Yeah, you just want players to be ready for that opening game. You want them ready and raring to go. You don't want to be thinking about injuries and niggles and all the types of little knocks you pick up. You want to be fully fit and, as I say, ready to go. But it's not been that way so far for the O's.
I think Saturio's going to be okay, though.
Yeah, we hope so. Interesting that the O's chairman is here this evening. They can see on the far side, Nigel Travis. So, I wonder whether that might suggest perhaps there's a little bit of business to be done in the coming days.
That's how rumours start, Matt.
Well, let's hope so.
It's a throw that's delivered long, and it's Dan Happy's header. It goes out to Soji, who finds the trialist, finds another trialist. It's now with Portsmouth. Deliver the ball long, and it's Sam Sargent out to the penalty area to clear for the O's, giving something for Sonny Fish to chase. It's good to see that he's fully recovered from that nasty challenge from Griffiths. Happy. So Fish got caught from behind, free kick to the O's in a deeper position. After a nervous start to the second half with the new look, well, virtually completely new look team, the O's are sort of growing into the match, aren't they?
Yeah, you'd like to think it should be more of an even counter now, with 4 experienced pros leaving the pitch for Portsmouth, and say a couple of younger players and a trialist being given their opportunity. As I say, interesting to see how the O's can match them up now.
Jaden Sweeney to take the free kick midway inside the Portsmouth half. Fish forward, Dan Happy's forward. They didn't need to really, because it wasn't the best of free kicks. Comes back to Jaden Sweeney. That's better. Looks for Dan Happy. It comes out to Saturio. Couldn't bring it under control in the way that he would have wanted. But it's the trialist who picks up the loose ball on the right hand side. Doesn't beat the first man with the cross, but he finds Craig Clay. One trialist to another, who tries to find Clay. And Clay has conceded, I think it's a throw, isn't it, by the corner flag?
I think the throw-in has been indicated by the linesman. It'll be Gilvey to take that throw-in.
You can see from the corner flag there's a bit of a breeze in the air, which is welcome by the players out there, as the trialist is tackled by Ogilvy, and that's going to be a throw to the O's. And is Shadrach Ogie going to take it? He is. Dan Happy's gone forward. Soji's also forward. Surely it'd be a long throw from Chadwick Ogie after all this. And indeed it is. Launched with a bit of power towards the edge of the 6-yard area. The clearance goes back to Chadwick Ogie. Lofts in the left foot cross, and Dan Happy is there, and Dan Happy has scored for the O's.
It was a good finish by Dan Happy, who stayed up when the initial long throw was cleared. It was only cleared so far. It came back to Shad Ogie, who flighted the ball over with the left foot. Portsmouth failed to clear their lines, and Dan Happy was on the spot to swivel and turn the ball in with the right foot. It's a goal for the O's.
Psychologically, that's a big moment for Dan Happy. It's been a long way back, hasn't he, with that injury picked up at Exeter City last season.
Yeah, I think another part of the stage of his recovery. He'll be pleased to, of course, find the back of the net, but for him it's just getting minutes out there, I think, at the moment, just getting back onto the football pitch and having the opportunity. I'm sure he's aware it's going to be tough, it's going to be competitive this season for that centre-back position. He's done himself no problem there, finding the net for the O's.
The ball is played out to the right-hand side for Pompey. Swanson with the ball at his feet, the former Arsenal man. Plays it back to Jacobs. And the cross into the box. And that's the 5th for Portsmouth. And it's been turned in by Joe Pickett.
Yeah, it's an excellent header, wasn't it? Maybe a little bit too easy the way he was able to leap there and, I say, power the ball down with the head into the Orient goal. There's a decent delivery as well from the right-hand side, but again, too much room, too much space. But fair play for the execution in the header. It was an excellently worked goal.
The Ipswich loanee for the season on target.
That's what you want from your forwards, isn't it? As you approach the start of the campaign, you want your forwards scoring goals. I'm sure any Pompey fans watching that will be delighted to see his name on the score sheet. No less than a couple of occasions tonight.
Now 28 years of age. It's a big season coming up for Joe Pickett. It's put more pressure on the O's defenders as Sam Sargent clears forward towards Sonny Fish. And the trialist on the far side. The pressure from Michael Jacobs. Free kick's been conceded and it's been given to the O's. Is there more movement on the Portsmouth bench, Matt?
Well, I think Marlon Pack has just gone down the tunnel. I think that's the only movement. Danny Cowley does look to his bench, giving some final instructions. I think we might see at least 1 or 2 more changes before the night is done.
Dan Happy finds Soji. Soji in turn to the trialist. Back to Soji. Soji finds Craig Clay. Clay inside the centre circle. Jaden Sweeney on the left-hand side. Sweeney back to Chadwick Ogie. It's with Saturio. It's a good ball from Saturio to the trialist inside the visitors' penalty area. And the ball goes out by the corner flag for a throw to the O's.
The full-back trialist there for the O's. He needed to find a red shirt, didn't he? He was in an excellent position. There was options. His trialist teammate, Shad Ogie, crying out for the ball. Wanted it squared to them, and it was intercepted. It was a bit of a weak pass.
Pre-season, these long throws from Chadwick Ogie have caused difficulties. And this one's in a decent position. It's in line with the Pompey 6-yard box. And it's delivered towards Dan Happy. Portsmouth clear, but only as far as the trialist. On the right-hand side is Chadwick Ogie with the left foot cross. Punched away by Griffiths. Appeals for handball. Which were against Curtis, but not given. And the referee's seen someone down. And because it's a pre-season friendly, no risks will be taken, Matt.
Yeah, I think it's a Gilvey there who just picked up a knock as that ball was put back into the 18-yard box.
Are they the Portsmouth chimes?
Sounds like
Coming
it,
at
doesn't
the
it?
bell, there is a very famous Portsmouth supporter, of course, that's known for his bell. Has he got an Airbnb or something in one of the flats?
I think it's woken up one or two of the residents, that's for sure. The curtains
Yes.
are now starting to appear as to say, what's all that about?
They are. So, but the linesman thinks it's Father Christmas, which, well, you know, Christmas every day. But if you watch Portsmouth, you know there's always the bells, play at Pompey and all that. And he's outside in Brisbane Road, making himself heard.
They've always had some cracking games down at Fratton Park, and when Pompey were in League Two, they were struggling to beat the O's for a while, weren't they? I think it was 4 consecutive wins for the Orient, and before that, back in 2002, famous win, 4-1 win in the FA Cup. Memorable afternoon. But there's always a cracking atmosphere there. There's always plenty of noise. One of my favourite grounds in the Football League.
Yes, it really is a wonderful stadium, isn't it?
Tone's always set, I think, before kick-off. Mike Oldfield, Portsmouth ringing out, fans on their feet. You know you're in for a enjoyable afternoon.
Well, we're not too sure of the man that's making all the noise, but the famous Portsmouth superfan is John Westwood. He's going to appear in a new documentary. He's you know, a real character. It might be someone different. It might be someone that's just made the long journey. It happens to have a bell and a horn and is supporting Portsmouth from behind the ground in Brisbane Road.
I have to say, he's taken his time to make his presence known, hasn't he, really? It's all the goals that have been scored. Waited a long time.
Well, maybe in the first half he was in Oliver Road, you never know.
Possibly caught on the tube, that was probably the problem.
More
He arrived
likely.
late.
Yes. Out on the far side, it is a throw to the O's, and one that Shadrach Ogie is going to take. Got Dan Happy to aim for. Soji behind him. Shadrach Ogie plays that one towards Dan Happy. It's Craig Clay's header. Sees Portsmouth counter-attack. Clay tries to win the challenge. Portsmouth coming forward with purpose.
It's starting to rain, Dave.
Is that? Have you got a coat?
No. Thought I could do without one today.
There you go. I've got a Mac in the car, but it's no use in there. But yes, it is raining in E10, which is very welcome. Not least, not so far away from here, on the banks of the M25 and that fire close to Upminster. Wishing everybody well as the ball goes back now to Josh Griffiths. Portsmouth with Mingy to Griffiths. Griffiths sweeps it out to the left-hand side, and that will be a throw to the visitors. Richie Wellens will be very disappointed with the manner in which I think all the goals have been conceded.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say some sloppy ones, particularly in the second half, but I'm sure the one that won't live in the memory for Shad Ogie for too long was the bizarre own goal, which kicked things off here this evening.
Trialis on the right-hand side. Flag goes up. Not too sure why, Matt.
No, I think the Trialis there, perhaps a fraction too late, trying to get back into a onside position. Referee quite happy to restart the game immediately. Portsmouth want to do that, just get the ball moving around. I'm sure the players will be revelling in the conditions right now, as you say, a drop of rain in the air.
Out on the far side, that's a throw to the O's. The Trialis is going to take this one in front of Danny Cowley's bench. Soji to Sam Sargent. Sargent looks to release Jaden Sweeney. Sweeney to Craig Clay. And Clay finds the trialist. Leyton Orient looking to build on the right-hand side. They'll settle for the throw, which is midway in the Pompey half.
Momentarily we can give you the 5 more changes that Portsmouth have made, which I've noted as we were talking about the what we think is a Portsmouth supporter who's made his way here, who's making his presence felt. Danny Cowley has rotated his side once again. In fact, we'll probably do that now, shall we, Dave?
Yes, please.
5 to come on. Trialist A, Harry Jewett-White, Alfie Bridgman, Dan Gifford and Liam Vincent. The 5 to come off: Connor Ogilvie, Joe Piggott, Michael Jacobs, Ronan Curtis and Clark Robertson. So now a very much changed Pompey side to the one we've seen for the majority of this game. The experienced pros now been given a rest, and the youngsters been given their opportunity to finish this game in E10.
It is a much younger side for the visitors in the closing stages of this one. It's a pass from Clay that finds Happy. Happy did well to find Jaden Sweeney. Sweeney into the path to Chadwick Ogie. Ogie to Raw Saturio. Saturio's got Sweeney making the overlapping run. And he's found Fish, who lays it back to Saturio. Saturio working hard to find Chadwick Ogie, and Ogie tried to release Saturio. Chadwick Ogie wins possession well. Well, I thought he did, but the referee disagrees with me, Matt.
Yeah, I think he waited to see if there was an advantage and was given the free kick Orient's way, but he just wanted to wait there. Orient quick to take it.
Obiero, shirt being pulled, finds Craig Clay. Far more possession now for the O's. Soji to the trialist. Back to Soji once more. Dan Happy. Jaden Sweeney to his left. The bounce almost deceived Sweeney. Did well to bring that one under control. Slides to keep the ball into the feet of Raw Saturio, who finds Chadwick Ogie. Ogie's got Saturio with space on the left. Cuts inside. Goes for goal. It goes wide of the target.
It was an ambitious effort from Raw Saturio there. Didn't quite get the execution in the shot correct. He was never troubling the Pompey goalkeeper. Found a little bit of room cut inside. Haven't seen too much from Saturio in this second 45. It's his only real effort on goal.
It's a long ball forward. And it's Dan Happy who clears. And it's important to note with these new floodlights, especially as the skies are darkening, you can just see how good they are. And it's the Leyton Orient Supporters Club who do so much for the O's, that made a substantial donation towards these championship standard floodlights, and it is a huge improvement, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
And thank you to all concerned.
Absolutely. You continue to have to give credit to the Supporters Club, who are unwavering in their support. Continue to help the club in any way they can. Full credit to Dave Dodd and the committee, who continue to work so hard.
It's with the first trialist who tries to find the second trialist, and it goes away for a goal kick to Portsmouth.
The game just lost that bit of fizz now, hasn't it? All the changes taking effect here.
Sounds like a better game in Brisbane Road. He's getting quite excited outside, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I think it is. It is a Pompey fan. We can confirm he's just watching through the gates on the end there by the east stand. I'm not sure he's got much of a view. In fact, you can probably only see from the 6-yard box from that position, but certainly enjoying himself, no doubt about it.
He is. As the ball goes out towards the far side, and that will be a throw. If Julian lent him his ladder, he'd be fine, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he's got any support there. I think it is just peering through the gates.
Soji has got Sweeney to his left. Sweeney controls it well on his chest. Clay back to Happy. Stop raining as the ball is played over hit, and it goes away for a goal kick. It is still raining actually, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, there
Not
is.
as much as it was.
No, I'm sure it'll be a blessing for some of these players, because it definitely is a few degrees cooler. We're into the evening, incredibly hot afternoon. Just watching the O's management team on the far side. Richie Wellens, Paul Terry and Matt Harold. Richie Wellens still barking out the instructions.
Dagenham Saturday, and then it's Walthamstow, John Mackey's men on the following Tuesday, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, just final preparations now. I think a lot of the supporters just looking forward to that opening game of the season here against Grimsby Town. should be a good one. Of course, Grimsby with 3 former O's players, Abrahams, Otis Khan of course, Jordan Maguire-Drew. Just want to get your season off to a good start, a home win. Got the opportunity to do that, the O's.
The throw is delivered into the Orient half. Dan Happy with a firm header into touch. And in front of the players' tunnel, it's another throw to Portsmouth. A warm evening, and that's now shown in the slow tempo of this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I mean, the evening itself has just been 2 completely different 45s of football, hasn't it? Certainly from an Orient perspective.
Portsmouth coming forward with a bit of pace now. The ball goes out to the left-hand side. It's with Piedrick. Back to Mignola, one of the few that started for Portsmouth. And he plays the ball forward. Sodji's underneath it. The trialist almost got beaten by the bounce. And Pompey sweep it out to the right, and Bridgman. A little back heel. It's cleared by Turio, but it's Portsmouth that pick up the loose ball with Bridgman. He finds Manoga. It's now inside the centre circle. Swanson. Back to Josh Griffiths. Griffiths playing the ball into the path of Thomas, former Wimbledon fullback. Bridgman on the byline with support from Turnicliffe. Turnicliffe takes it into the Leyton Orient penalty area. Sweeney, there's a man down for Portsmouth, the referee allowing play to continue. It's the trialist with 28 on the back. He's got trialist with 17 on his back, making the overlapping run. It's number 17, gets to the byline, can he pull it back? He can. Portsmouth clear, it's a corner to the O's.
He done well there, the trialist, you have to say, to keep possession of the football when it looked as though the ball was going to go over the byline, but he done well to pull it back. There was plenty of Pompey players back to defend the situation, but the O's have a corner.
And it's a corner that is played towards Obiero.
And the player still receiving treatment.
Yes, he is. The man that is receiving treatment is Piedrick, one of those many substitutes that Portsmouth have used in the second half. And there's still plenty of shouting from Brisbane Road and the ringing of the bell. And there's more neighbours coming out to see what the noise is about than they've come to see the football.
Yeah, absolutely. It's singing a few anti-Southampton songs, I think it's fair to say, Dave. It's got the neighbours' attention.
Right. It's a short corner. Obiero does well to create space inside the penalty. Good shot, good save from Griffiths. Fish lays it back to Shadrach Ogie. And well, it's an overlapping one, but it's Sodji, in fact, and that's going to be a corner kick to the O's.
Yeah, it was an excellent effort and good save. I have to say, full credit to the goalkeeper. It was low. He got down well, got a strong hand to it. Sonny Fish looking to pick up the second ball. Laid it into the path of his teammate. And again, Pompey had players back there to defend.
So it's a corner to the O's. One that's played to Craig Clay. Clay lays it back to Obiero. Trialist's first time touch wasn't the best. That's the full-time whistle. So in terms of the scoreline, disappointing for the O's to say the least. Richie Wellens will be concerned about the defending, but there's also plenty of positives to take. A goal from Dan Happy and a special one from Paul Smyth.
Yeah, difficult one really, Dave, to assess the game in its entirety because, as I say, it was 2 completely different 45 minutes from the O's. The first team were out in the first half and certainly showed that. There was little glimpses. Paul Smyth, particularly for me, was impressive. Not sure the trialists really did enough justice for themselves this evening, but it was against a decent opposition, and Portsmouth clearly showing why they're that step ahead of the O's in terms of a League One side. So for me, as I say, you're looking at it, you're just hoping everyone's come off in reasonable condition. The likes of Portsmouth, good to see him back. Lawrence Figueroa, good to see him back, recovered from his illness. But you have to move on to the next one.
Absolutely important minutes then. It's good to see Charlie Daniels pitch side once more. Brendan Pitcher. Let's join Ollie back.
Even a 7-goal thriller there for you to enjoy, and probably not the best result for the O's, but a fairly good run out and 2 different sets of team in both half, and a lot of minutes in the tank for a lot of players. Yeah,
I thought it was a good test for Orient. You know, Portsmouth's strong League One side coming down here, and so it was good for the youngsters to get good minutes at the end. Disappointing result, but I'm sure minutes in their legs is really what they expected.
And it was a very, very young second half side for the O's that came out there, and it was an unchanged Portsmouth side. So there was a lot of valuable experience to be taken out there.
Yeah, definitely. I said before the game it was going to be kind of that first half was going to be the most important in terms of how the performance was, and we matched them a little bit. It was only 1 goal in it at half time, and that was the freak goal that happened. So I think Richie can be pleased with that. And then the second half, the substitutions didn't quite align in terms of times. I think we changed pretty much our whole team at half time and brought in a lot of young, inexperienced players, and Portsmouth still had a lot of established first team players out there, and a difference showed in those minutes. But when Portsmouth kind of rang the changes as well, the game began to get more even, and it was like you say, good exercise in getting minutes and getting these young lads a bit more experience.
Well, we'll see some of the second half goals there on the screen now. While we're looking at that, Charlie, we said at half time about how Richie would probably want to cut out some of the sloppy mistakes. Didn't really manage to do that, and do you think that's maybe a case of the youthfulness of the side that came on, and maybe some of the nerves?
Yeah, probably that, and so just trying to get into the grips of the game, and so unfortunately they got caught napping a couple of times towards the start of the second half. But as we said before, it's valuable experience for them. Good minutes, and it's good for Richie and that to see what they can produce in a tough game.
And the next time that this group of players step out on this pitch here in E10, it will be the League 2 opener against Grimsby, obviously newly promoted as well. That's going to be a big one. A lot of expectation from both sides, I'm sure.
Yeah, massive game, and I think that at this point you're just looking at who we can get fit and can we get a focal point up front. I think Harry Smyth isn't far away, and I think that makes a real difference to our game, because as good as Portsmouth is, ideally you want him playing those pockets of space in terms of running off a physical striker, and I think that's so key to how we want to play, and I think it'll be important to see if we can get either him or Aaron Drynan fit for that game.
Absolutely, and of course, as Richie said, there will be a couple signings hopefully in the coming days, so keep your eyes peeled on the social media for that. But also don't forget, you've still got time to purchase your season ticket for the upcoming year, so make sure you do get down here in your numbers to get behind the boys. Thank you so much for watching this evening, and of course thank you to Charlie and Brendan for joining me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure here on Orient Live, and we'll see you on the 30th of July when we face Grimsby Town. Up the O's.